Chapter 155. Don't underestimate the range of 100 meters. The elemental Takashi Hoshi only had a range of 20 to 30 meters. Anything over 50 meters could be considered a long-range attack. Hitting a target from 100 meters away was already considered a rare long-range attack. Wang Lan excitedly turned the practice field into a 100-meter shooting range. The initial power of the Takashi Hoshi skill determined the growth potential of the Takashi Hoshi skill. At least, this judgment was effective for Wang Lan. Wang Lan came to the 100-meter range and frowned. At this distance, even the round target was blurry. He couldn't even see the bull's eye, let alone hit it. He felt it was better to have an automatic rifle in his hand. He stretched out one hand and raised his index finger and thumb. His index finger was facing the target in the distance, and his thumb and index finger were at a right angle. This was the starting position of the new moon arrow. Wang Lan didn't understand why it had to be this position. Couldn't he not give a thumbs up? Couldn't he shoot 10 arrows in a row with 10 fingers? The new moon arrow Takashi Hoshi skill was activated. In an instant, the specially compressed astral power flowed along the meridians in his body at an extremely fast speed. The meridians were like the roots of a tree. When the astral power flowed through a special meridian, it instantly accelerated. Suddenly, Wang Lan's arm lit up. Amid the fluctuation of astral power, a pair of dark golden wings appeared on his wrist. A mass of astral power instantly gathered between the golden wings. At this moment, Wang Lan finally understood. Why could it only be shot from the index finger? Perhaps the creator of the Takashi Hoshi skill had thought of shooting all 10 fingers, but in the end, only the index finger was left. Why did he give a thumbs up? Only by giving a thumbs up would the wings on his wrist spread out. It seemed like an unnecessary action, but every step couldn't be omitted. It was a very crucial existence. However, was it really okay to only take 4 to 5 seconds for the first step? 4 to 5 seconds was enough for others to finish 4 to 5 times. During this time, any random person could kill you, right? Wang Lan looked at the target in front of him. Whoosh! A silver-white arrow instantly shot out of Wang Lan's index finger, fiercely shooting towards the opposite side. Then he brushed past the target beautifully and turned into fireworks in an instant. Wang Lan's face darkened. This is the A-rank Takashi Hoshi skill I spent 8 million on. Isn't it supposed to have an effective range of 100 meters? Did I measure the distance incorrectly? Don't tell me that in order to practice this Takashi Hoshi technique, I have to practice archery? That's not right. After learning the nebulous sword dance, a basic sword technique would automatically appear in the basic skills. After learning the new moon archery, shouldn't it be a basic archery skill? In an instant, Wang Lan realized where the problem lay. The key was the level of the Silver 1 skill. The Crescent Moon Arrow was an A-rank Takashi Hoshi skill. The difficulty of learning, it was at least Silver rank, and Silver rank 1 was equivalent to just barely learning it. Didn't barely learn mean that he would pass if he could release it? The so-called accuracy, firing speed, the power of the new moon arrow, and the range would all need to be improved in the future. Wang Lan did not challenge the limit and shot an arrow at the PS armor beside him. Boom! There was a burst of fire, but the PS armor was not damaged at all. However, the PS armor had a system that recorded the amount of energy, so soon, a number popped up on the display on the armor. 1. 1 represented 1 point of firepower, which was equivalent to the power of a bullet. The initial power was not bad, comparable to a bullet, so it was definitely much more powerful than a normal arrow. He used 300 skill points to push the skill to Silver rank 4. In an instant, the feeling of the new moon arrow appeared in his mind. If this skill gave Wang Lan the feeling of learning to walk before, then now, Wang Lan could already run and jump. He raised his hand, and astral power instantly surged. At his wrist, the pair of golden wings instantly popped out. Whoosh! An arrow was shot out within a second. Boom! Beep! 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 On the screen, the energy equivalent was 3 in reality. It was 3 times stronger than before and had the power of an armor-piercing bullet. However, on the basic skills page, there was still no indication of the basic archery skill. It was possible that the arrow shot out by the Takashi Hoshi skill was not the same as shooting an arrow with a normal bowstring. There was no commonality, so he could not learn it. Wang Lan added another point and directly used 1,000 points to upgrade the New Moon arrow to silver rank 9. In an instant, Wang Lan suddenly felt that the Takashi Hoshi skill seemed to have undergone a slight change. The trajectory of the Takashi Hoshi skill seemed to have become more complicated. If the trajectory of the Takashi Hoshi skill could be compared to a mechanical part, then when it was upgraded to silver rank 9, the complexity and precision of the operation would increase greatly. Wang Lan raised his hand again. In an instant, astral power surged. At the same time, a ball of astral power suddenly rushed up his arm and went straight to his head. If there was a mirror in front of Wang Lan's right eye would be covered with a layer of golden light. The pupil of his right eye seemed to have turned into a gear that was slowly rotating. Time seemed to have slowed down. The bull's eye in the distance could be zoomed in under the adjustment of his eyes. The bull's eye that could not be seen clearly before was now clearly visible. F*CK. Is this the design of a scope? A scope with dynamic vision. A silver-white arrow instantly shot out from Wang Lan's fingertip, broke through the sound barrier, and instantly hit the bull's eye in the distance. Boom! With a loud bang, the arrow target exploded. The scattered arrow targets were blown away by the aftermath of the explosion, turning into countless shrapnel that scattered all over the place. The power of this arrow was comparable to a small grenade. Wang Lan looked at this scene in a daze. The power of the New Moon arrow at silver rank 9 was unexpectedly good, and the astral power consumption of this arrow was not much higher than when it was at silver rank 1. What made Wang Lan even happier was that this Takashi Hoshi skill actually came with an eye technique derivative skill. In this case, not only did Wang Lan have an additional long-range attack ability, but he also had an additional detection ability. Although it might not be as powerful as Su Xiaowen's Heaven's Eye, at least it had unlocked potential. Not strong now did not mean that he would not be strong in the future. He could just use the skill points. Did the gold-level New Moon arrow add X-ray or infrared night vision abilities to his eyes? Wang Lan took a few deep breaths and calmed her agitated heart. He sank his consciousness into the system. New Moon arrow, silver rank 9, 0 out of 100. Long-range shooting Takashi Hoshi skill. Astral power constructs an astral power arrow to kill the target. Effective range of 150 meters. An additional range of 50 meters? Actually, long-range shooting might not be very useful in actual combat. After all, although the New Moon arrow was very powerful, its shooting speed was not as fast as a gun. If it really attacked the enemy from 150 meters away, the probability of hitting the target was not high. The Takashi Hoshi skill depended on the situation and the timing. No matter what Takashi Hoshi skill it was, it could only be used at the right time to achieve victory. Guns were still very powerful, but in the hands of ordinary people, guns could not be used to their full potential. And Takashi Hoshi had Takashi Hoshi skills, so guns could not be used in the alternate dimension. Gradually, Takashi Hoshi people stopped using guns. Special agents of the Heavenly Sword Bureau, like Wang Lan, actually had permission to carry guns. As long as they applied, they could even use anti-material rifles. But holding a gun would affect the battle, and it might not even hit the enemy. Just then, the system suddenly buzzed. Then, on the Takashi Hoshi skill page, 2 Takashi Hoshi skills suddenly lit up. Takashi Hoshi skills can be connected. Spend 1,000 skill points to connect them? This notification stunned Wang Lan, but he immediately understood the system's meaning. In this world, there was another name for the Takashi Hoshi skill. Compound Takashi Hoshi skill. Their understanding of the 2 Takashi Hoshi skills had reached a very high level, and their control of astral power had reached a certain level. Takashi Hoshi people would try to use compound Takashi Hoshi skills. Needless to say, compound Takashi Hoshi skills were extremely powerful. But compound Takashi Hoshi skills were difficult to achieve in Nebula. One could only attempt it after reaching the Galaxy Realm and mastering Takashi Hoshi skills to the point of perfection. The most classic compound Takashi Hoshi skill was Wang Qianfeng's Leyline Thundernet. The combination of thunder and earth Takashi Hoshi skills could create an earth attack filled with the power of thunder. The thunder would paralyze the enemy, and the earth would kill the enemy. Moreover, compound Takashi Hoshi skills had an extremely terrifying characteristic. They would lose the ability to restrain the enemy's attributes. For example, Wang Qianfeng's Leyline Thundernet could restrain the earth attribute. But the Leyline Thundernet itself carried the thunder attribute, and the enemy's thunder attribute attacks would no longer be able to restrain it. The thunder attribute would also lose its ability to restrain the wind attribute, because the earth attribute could block the wind attribute attacks. Compound Takashi Hoshi skills could only be used to fight force with force. But why was it the flaming blade? Wang Lan was puzzled. Weren't compound Takashi Hoshi skills all Takashi Hoshi skills of different attributes? Two Takashi Hoshi skills of different attributes were used at the same time and fused together. The crescent moon arrow was of the transformation type, while the flaming blade was of the transformation type. What the hell was this compound skill? Generally speaking, the correct answer to this question would be, why ask so many questions? Let's talk about it later. Skill points were not a problem. The problem was, he had no more skill points. Damn it. The combination Takashi Hoshi skill required 1,000 points, and he only had 800 skill points left. F***CK. In the past, he had plenty of skill points, so Wang Lan used them as if his life depended on it. All Takashi Hoshi skills had been allocated points to 99,100. In addition, he had used Phoenix form twice before, so he had saved another 1,500 skill points into Phoenix form. Originally, he had 4,000 to 5,000 skill points, but Wang Lan had only 1,800 skill points left. Now, an A-rank Takashi Hoshi skill had been upgraded to the max level, and he only had 800 skill points left. He was short of 200 skill points to challenge 200 times? Who should he look for? School had not started yet, okay? If he wanted to farm from CSCC and the others, they were all on the same side. So Wang Lan could not bear to do it. He scrolled through his phone and saw Su Shiryun's number. Hello, Brother Su. Wang Lan, I'm in Hainan. What's the matter? You went to Hainan? And it's fine. Why are you being so shy? Just say it. Wearing sunglasses, he was lying on the beach in Hainan. Under the sunglasses, he kept sneaking glances at the girls in swimsuits running happily on the beach. Life was so pleasant. In this situation, if a song was played, I'm in the warm sun in the south, and you're frozen like a dog in the north. It's nothing. I wanted to spar with someone to practice my combat skills. Oh, so hardworking, not forgetting to improve yourself, even in the new year. You have a future. There are many brothers in the bureau. The two girls from the Zhang family are not bad, and Li Gu is also not bad. If you ask them to train with you, they won't refuse. That, Brother Su, I don't think I can beat them. Wang Lan said in distress. Huh? Isn't it normal that you can't beat them? Wait, what do you mean? You think you can't beat them? So you came to me? What did you become so arrogant? You. Do. Su Shiryun looked at the phone, so angry that his teeth creaked. Little brat, wait for me to come back. Chapter 156. What should I do? In the Heavenly Sword Bureau, only Su Shiryun was willing to let Wang Lan beat him up without using Takashi Hoshi's skills. Or, he could buy 200 soul orbs. 200 soul orbs would cost 18 million. Forget about it. It wasn't that Wang Lan couldn't afford it. It was completely unnecessary. Forget it. I'll wait until school starts and fight to earn skill points. Ding dong. A message popped up on his phone. It was a message from CSCC. Wang Lan, are you home? Can I come over to visit? Huh? She really came knocking on my door? Wang Lan's eyes suddenly lit up. Welcome, a warm welcome. Wang Lan was too embarrassed to take the initiative to invite her, but since he was here, he could ask. But to beat him up more than 200 times, it seemed a little cruel. Forget it. I'll call Su Xiangwen over to share the burden. Immediately, he made a phone call. Su Xiangwen, come to my house to train and vent your excess bestiality. You're the one with excess bestiality. Just you wait. See how I beat you up this time. Su Xiangwen and Gong Feiyu came together. When they arrived, CSCC was not there yet. Lanzi, did you break through Nebula during the winter break? The two parked their car in the garage. As soon as they got out, Su Xiangwen asked loudly, "How could it be that easy? It's only the middle stage of star blazing now. The two of you took more than a year to break through to the Nebula realm, but I only took half a year to break through." Wang Lan saw the two of them and immediately took off his jacket, leaving behind a tight-fitting short-sleeved shirt. "Then I'm relieved." Su Xiangwen rubbed his wrist and smiled faintly. "Relieved? Relieved about what? Your training room is equipped with PS armor, right? I remember there's also an electromagnetic protection barrier, right?" "Yes. How about we don't practice martial arts this time?" Wang Lan paused and slowly turned his head to look at Su Xiangwen, who was stroking his hair coquettishly. "Bro, you've been getting a little cocky lately. Who gave you that confidence?" "What confidence? It's just Nebula and a small breakthrough in Takashi Hoshi. All right, since you have this request, I will fulfill it. Come on, change your clothes and come up." Su Xiangwen nimbly took off his jacket and climbed onto the battle ring. Gong Feiyu took a can of Coke and lay on the lounge chair with a smile on his face. "Wang Lan, I'll tell you this in advance. You saw my Takashi Hoshi in the intermediate trial field. However, at that time, my Takashi Hoshi level was only star blazing, so I couldn't unleash its full power. After breaking through Nebula, my use of Takashi Hoshi has reached a certain level. Moreover, my Takashi Hoshi is of a yang attribute. After using it, my body's strength will increase several times, and I can achieve partial mutation. However, my mutation is purely caused by Takashi Hoshi, and it's not a mutation talent. My bloodline is very pure." "No one doubts your bloodline. Wait, the yang attribute can change? Since the yang attribute is an attribute, how can it not change? Although the yin and yang attributes are not the 7 basic attributes, the yin and yang attributes derive the 7 basic attributes. My Takashi Hoshi skill is called Pure Yang Takashi Hoshi Level A. Once activated, my speed, strength, reaction, and defense will increase several times. It has the ability to break through defenses, melee, long-range, and melee attacks. I haven't learned the long-range attack, but if it's a melee attack, 3 Gong Feiyu won't be enough for me. Originally, this Takashi Hoshi skill had a deeper potential, and the Takashi Hoshi skill was only in the initial stage. Pure Yang Takashi Hoshi is too rare, so this Takashi Hoshi skill hasn't been completed yet. You dare to practice an incomplete Takashi Hoshi skill. The completion of the Takashi Hoshi skill requires generations of Takashi Hoshi practitioners to perfect it. Especially for rare Takashi Hoshi practitioners like us, it's very difficult to practice the Takashi Hoshi skill. However, there's one advantage that you don't have, and that's that it's cheap. After I awakened the Yang attribute, the Takashi Hoshi Hall even took the initiative to contact me and recommend the Takashi Hoshi skill. Damn, there's such treatment. It can't be helped. The yin-yang attribute is even rarer than the medical Takashi Hoshi. All right, are you ready? If you're ready, I'm going to start. Wang Lan pressed the remote control, and the electromagnetic barrier that had never been opened before was opened this time. Using the Takashi Hoshi skill to fight was completely different. It was directly upgraded from a cold weapon to a hot weapon, and it was not a basic hot weapon, but a rocket launcher. Wang Lan, CSCC is here. Let her come over. Wait, CSCC is coming too? Su Xiangwen asked curiously. Yes, CSCC is coming, so I called you, Wang Lan said casually. Wait, Wang Lan, I don't understand your logic. CSCC is coming to see you, so you asked me to come here practice? Huh, practicing 1 is practicing, and practicing 2 is also practicing. The Chinese New Year is over now, isn't it? You must have eaten so much that you put on weight. It's a good opportunity to practice before school starts to digest. Su Xiangwen silently paid his respect to Wang Lan. Are you so sure that CSCC is looking for you to practice with and not to sleep with you? Lan Zi, you can't pretend to be stupid like this. Su Xiangwen was right. Wang Lan was pretending to be stupid. When he saved CSCC the last time, the other CSCC had already told Wang Lan clearly that CSCC liked Wang Lan. Since Wang Lan knew about it, and combined all of CSCC's actions, he naturally knew what CSCC meant. However, it was so troublesome to be in a relationship. Mentally, Wang Lan did not need to be in a relationship. Biologically speaking, Wang Lan had not reached her estrus period yet. Ideologically, and in the current situation, the demons were ready to make a move, and a war was about to break out. How could he be in the mood to be in a relationship if he did not seize the opportunity to become stronger? Ding dong. The elevator door opened, and a peerless beauty who looked like she had walked out of a painting appeared in the elevator. CSCC had a good figure. She was almost 8 meters tall, and her legs were more than 1 meter long. She had a perfect golden ratio figure and a delicate face. She was the kind that could make passers-by run into a pillar if she dressed up a little. Today, CSCC wore a mink coat and a tight skirt. Her straight legs made people salivate. She also put on makeup before she went out. The moment she walked out of the elevator, she attracted the attention of 3 male creatures. "Cece, you're here?" Wang Lan waved his hand enthusiastically. CSCC looked at the scene in front of her and was slightly stunned. However, a smile appeared on her face instantly. "You're all here? Why didn't Wang Lan tell me that you're here?" "He didn't tell us that you're coming either." Gong Feiyu smiled faintly and gestured for CSCC to sit on the lounge chair. "You're so beautiful today." "Thank you. You're just in time." The two of them are going to use Takashi Hoshi to fight. Let's learn how to fight together. "Sure. Wang Lan told me that you're going to fight, so I came in my sportswear." "Okay, let's not dawdle. Let's start. Be careful." Su Xiangwen instantly put away the smile on his face and became extremely serious. In an instant, the astral power around him surged. The surging astral power was visible to the naked eye. His aura also gushed out from his body like a hurricane. The surging airflow made Wang Lan feel like a hot wind in summer. In an instant, Su Xiangwen moved. He still relied on his physical strength, but his speed was almost beyond Wang Lan's vision. In less than a second, he was in front of Wang Lan and punched Wang Lan in the face. Boom! The ground shook. Wang Lan's figure turned into a shadow and shattered. His dance of stars was activated. The two of them didn't move after pulling apart the distance again. Just now, they exchanged blows to familiarize themselves with each other. Su Xiangwen was afraid that Wang Lan would underestimate him and be accidentally killed by him. Wang Lan also wanted to know the bottom line of Su Xiangwen's strength in Nebula. "How about it? Are you confident?" Su Xiangwen asked faintly with a smile. Wang Lan's expression was very serious. "Frankly speaking, no confidence." Before he broke through Nebula, Wang Lan could easily defeat Su Xiangwen, whether or not he used Takashi Hoshi. But the difference between Nebula and Star Blazing wasn't just the difference in astral power. Nebula's Takashi Hoshi crushed Star Blazing in terms of physical strength, reflexes, and so on. In addition, Su Xiangwen had mastered the high-level Takashi Hoshi. Not only did he surpass Wang Lan in terms of strength, but he also crushed him. In other words, if Su Xiangwen was placed in the Takashi Hoshi ring now, he could crush him all the way to the finals. Even against Chang Xuanyue, who had completely suppressed Wang Lan in the beginning, Su Xiangwen could easily defeat him. This was the barbaric suppression in terms of realm. With Wang Lan's current astral power, he had no chance of winning against any Nebula if he didn't use his wits. This punch also made Wang Lan stop underestimating him. Just now, Su Xiangwen had held back. If he hadn't, Wang Lan might not have been able to dodge in time. Therefore, Su Xiangwen didn't ask Wang Lan this question because he was really worried about whether Wang Lan could withstand it. If he couldn't, only Gong Feiyu could do it. But Gong Feiyu was also suitable. Gong Feiyu was an Earth-type Takashi Hoshi. He couldn't use the Earth-type Takashi Hoshi in the ring. If he drew the Earth-type from somewhere else, Wang Lan's office building, which was worth hundreds of millions, would be ruined. "It's okay. Don't worry, I have this self-healing Takashi Hoshi." Even if I can't withstand it, I can heal myself. Plus, it's better this way. It can improve my combat ability. Good. I won't hold back next time. Start. CSCC, who was standing at the side, quietly raised her phone. What are you doing? Gong Feiyu looked curiously at CSCC as she turned on the camera. The two of them are using the Takashi Hoshi technique. How can you not tell Sinyu? Take a picture and show it to Sinyu. Su Xiangwen once again turned into a stream of light and shot towards Su Xiangwen. He was so fast that Wang Lan felt his heartstrings tighten. He used the nebula dance again and narrowly avoided Su Xiangwen's fist. But before the afterimage could disappear, Su Xiangwen followed up with another punch. Fortunately, Wang Lan's nebula sword dance had reached a profound level. The afterimages he used were so realistic that they looked real. Because Su Xiangwen's attacks were only afterimages, Wang Lan had room to dodge. But now, Wang Lan was being chased by Su Xiangwen. Not to mention counterattacking, if he was too slow, he would be slapped in the face. Lan Zi, be careful. Su Xiangwen let out a strange cry and instantly split into two doppelgangers. The problem was that these two were physical clones. Both clones could use the pure Yang Dharma idol. F***CK, you're shameless. Wang Lan's face turned pale with fright as he roared. Why do you care about your face in a real battle? Don't run. If I don't beat you up today, I won't feel good. Chapter 157. In fact, Su Xiangwen had already been very lenient. One must know that when he was in the intermediate trial field, the power of his punch was equivalent to the power of a grenade's explosion. And at that time, Su Xiangwen had only been using star blazing. That Takashi Hoshi technique must have been the primary application of the pure Yang Dharma idol. Now that he had mastered the full use of Takashi Hoshi, the power of this punch must be even stronger. If he used this on Wang Lan, even if Wang Lan had self-healing, he would still be smashed into a fried dough twist. Su Xiangwen only used speed to bully Wang Lan, and the power of his slap wasn't that great. But even if he used speed to bully Wang Lan could only obediently be bullied. It was really too fast. Wang Lan could still keep up with the speed of a normal nebula, but Su Xiangwen's Takashi Hoshi technique directly increased his strength, speed, and reaction time by several times. At this speed, even if Wang Lan was a nebula Takashi Hoshi, he could only use the restriction-type Takashi Hoshi technique to restrict Su Xiangwen's high-speed movement. Wang Lan's nebula sword dance was already in danger of being evaded, so there was no need to think about counterattacking. And no matter how strong the cutting power of the flaming blade was, it was useless. A flaming blade that couldn't cut people was no different from nothing. No wonder it was said that the world's martial arts were invincible because of speed. With this speed, even a late nebula expert would be beaten up if he got close. CSCC took a video and sent it to Jiang Xinyu through her Penguin account. At this moment, Jiang Xinyu was ruthlessly ravaging Jiang Xinshan in the training room in the basement. Jiang Xinshan was obedient and had a soft personality. Jiang Xinyu had expressed her disapproval more than once. She had followed her sister since she was young and had learned her sister's beauty. But why hadn't she learned any of her ruthlessness? Not only was he not talented, he wasn't fierce either. However, who asked him to be a water elemental Takashi Hoshi? It couldn't be helped. Water elementals had such a temper. Take a rest. Jiang Xinyu looked down at Jiang Xinshan, who was lying on the training platform, dripping with fragrant sweat. Sis, it's okay. I can... Hold on. Your problem isn't whether or not you can persist. It's that you're hesitating. He wasn't decisive enough. If you can't defeat your opponent in one strike, then your moves are meaningless. Ding dong. Jiang Xinyu picked up her phone. It was a video call from CSCC. Jiang Xinyu casually clicked on it, and in an instant, her body stiffened. On the screen, two people were exchanging blows rapidly within the transparent electromagnetic shield. Even the electromagnetic shield had been activated. That was Takashi Hoshi's skill. You continue cultivating at home. I'll go out for a while. You're not allowed to slack off without my supervision. I'll check it when I get home. Oh. Jiang Xinyu hurried back to the villa. She quickly washed up, changed into a clean combat uniform, and rushed to the garage. Speaking of which, Jiang Xinyu had been envious of Wang Lan's electromagnetic shield for more than a day. Takashi Hoshi's skill could not be used casually. Without specific equipment or a protective barrier set up by Takashi Hoshi, all the consequences would be borne by oneself. If one wanted to cause damage to public facilities or personal injuries, then just wait. Endangering public safety and endangering social safety were two charges waiting for you. In layman's terms, you represented humanity to destroy you. Therefore, the electromagnetic shield had become something that Takashi Hoshi urgently needed. With this thing, they could cultivate Takashi Hoshi's skill at home and even experiment with Takashi Hoshi's skill. However, this was not something that could be done with money. The technology was still protected by the country. It was not available for civilian use. Jiang Xinyu had never been convinced that Wang Lan had this at home. But that was in the past. Tu Su Xiangwen, all using their pure yang dharma, directly forced Wang Lan into a desperate situation in an instant. Good Lord, for slaps back and forth. If it were not for Wang Lan's fast movements and blocking with his arms a few times, his face would have been beaten into a pig's head. Su Xiangwen, on the other hand, was getting more and more excited. Although he said to be careful and be careful, his excited little eyes had already deeply betrayed Su Xiangwen. This guy's heart was indescribably happy. After dodging the two big slaps with difficulty, Wang Lan rolled continuously and hid in the corner of the arena. Was this the real difference between him and Nebula? He was completely crushed in terms of strength. Su Xiangwen gave Wang Lan a few seconds to adjust, then cracked a creepy smile. Lanzi, brother, I'm coming. He already called himself brother? Damn, I can't spoil this habit of being arrogant. However, Su Xiangwen's speed was as fast as lightning. Almost as soon as he finished speaking, a slap came down from the top of his head. Shoot an arrow at him? What if he died? In a flash, Wang Lan suddenly thought of a problem. Was the reason why he was circled really because he couldn't keep up with his speed? Not exactly. If that was the case, he couldn't block the opponent's attack at all. It was his eyes that couldn't keep up, which caused his body's reaction to be slow. That was the real root of the problem. And in the future, Wang Lan would have to fight opponents with fast movements. Su Xiangwen would show mercy to him, but would the enemy? Didn't he just master an ability? The additional skill of the New Moon Arrow, Eagle Eye. This skill was a high-level use of star power derived from the movement characteristics of the New Moon Arrow's star power meridians. It changed the appearance of the retina through star power. It could be used alone. In an instant, star power surged, and a layer of golden light covered Wang Lan's right eye. The pupil of his right eye changed instantly. The previously round pupil turned into a gear, and the slap that came down from the top of his head was finally slowed down. Moreover, the speed could be adjusted. At the very least, it was easy to slow down Su Xiangwen's movements to a normal speed. Wang Lan leaned his body, but this originally easy movement felt as if he was in mud. His body's movements were also as slow as a snail in the dynamic vision. But fortunately, Wang Lan quickly made subtle adjustments. He almost brushed Su Xiangwen's fingertips and avoided the slap. Wang Lan quickly used Dance of the Nebula and turned into a flash of light, passing by Su Xiangwen's body and appearing behind him. But after this slap, Su Xiangwen suddenly stopped his actions. What's wrong? CSCC, who was watching with great interest, looked up and asked, Strange? Wang Lan, the way you dodged just now made me feel strange. What did you do just now? Nothing, it's just that I can now capture your speed. Fisk, who doesn't know how to brag. Su Xiangwen laughed on the spot. Capture my speed? I'm not afraid to tell you that even I can't capture my own speed when I activate it. This time, Su Xiangwen pounced on Wang Lan. After activating the dynamic vision, not only would the opponent's movements become slower, but his own movements would also become slower. Wang Lan needed to adjust and adapt. In the beginning, Wang Lan did manage to dodge Su Xiangwen's attack by a hair's breadth. But after familiarizing himself with it for a few minutes, Wang Lan began to get the hang of it. Meanwhile, Gong Feiyu and CSCC, who were watching from the side, were already stunned. The scene of Wang Lan being chased and beaten by Su Xiangwen was still vivid in their minds. Wang Lan's embarrassment brought a lot of joy to the two of them. But in just 10 minutes, the two of them saw Wang Lan's transformation. From the beginning, he covered his head and ran away like a rat to the calmness of 10 minutes. Although this change was not clear, it was clearly presented in front of them. This was especially true for Gong Feiyu, who was shocked to the extreme. Just 2 days ago, the two of them found an open space and fought once. Su Xiangwen was no match for Gong Feiyu when the distance was drawn. But once Su Xiangwen got close, Gong Feiyu could not fight back with his terrifying speed. Gong Feiyu's close combat strength was not weak. Previously, he could barely hold on for 3 minutes against Wang Lan. After breaking through Nebula, his strength improved greatly. But even so, if Su Xiangwen got close to him, he would be killed instantly. But now, Wang Lan could actually turn from passive to active in such a short time. This small change was indeed a terrifying improvement. How much could a person improve in 15 minutes? In the past, Gong Feiyu would think that 15 minutes was not enough to make a person improve. But now, F***CK. Where did this monster come from? Boom! Suddenly, a Su Xiangwen flew backward from the air, flipped 360 degrees in the void, and landed heavily on the ground. Boom! After a series of distortions, Su Xiangwen's clone actually disappeared. This scene made the two of them open their mouths wide. Impossible. You. The other Su Xiangwen looked at Wang Lan in shock. Wang Lan was also stunned. He was not stunned because he defeated Su Xiangwen's clone, but because the system did not judge him as defeated and he did not receive a reward. It seemed that he had to defeat the real body as well. Thinking of this, Wang Lan's figure flashed and instantly rushed in front of Su Xiangwen. Wait, my ass. Wang Lan threw a punch, and Su Xiangwen dodged it easily. Wang Lan only increased his dynamic vision, but did not really increase his speed. So with Su Xiangwen's speed, it was not difficult for him to dodge Wang Lan's punch. But he was not Wang Lan, who could use Takashi Hoshi without any time interval. So if he wanted to create another clone, he would be dreaming. Wang Lan began to suppress Su Xiangwen, but in the arena, the two of them were still too fast to keep up. CSCC, who was outside the arena, began to see something. CSCC's fighting ability was off the charts, especially when she combined her astral power with her movements. Her speed was fast, and her attack power was strong. But no matter how strong CSCC's ability was, it was definitely not as good as Su Xiangwen's when he activated his pure Yang Dharma form. CSCC understood that Wang Lan's speed wasn't faster, nor was she stronger. Instead, she was able to predict the situation. Su Xiangwen's movements were all under Wang Lan's control, and he could instantly counterattack and launch an attack according to Su Xiangwen's movements. Although his movements did not become faster, his efficiency was doubled. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of hurried footsteps could be heard. Jiang Xinyu hurried over and happened to see the most exciting scene. Wang Lan threw a Thomas roundhouse kick, which hit Su Xiangwen's waist almost like a positioning navigation system. With the speed of Su Xiangwen's charge, Su Xiangwen flew backward under this kick. Boom! A blast of air rose and exploded. Su Xiangwen's face instantly became distorted, and he crashed straight into the protective fence. Defeated an opponent of a higher level. Reward: 1,000 experience points and 10 skill points. Huh? Did he defeat an opponent of a higher level? Well, Su Xiangwen was no longer the star blazing who could only contribute a few skills. Nebula's Su Xiangwen could crush Wang Lan. F***CK. Lan Z, what's wrong with you? Did you F***King evolve? After taking such a powerful kick, Su Xiangwen stood up as if nothing had happened. You're okay? Wang Lan asked in surprise. Under the pure Yang Dharma form, my strength, defense, and so on have increased several times. The strength of your kick is barely enough. Tell me, how did you do it? I feel like I've been fighting with air for so long. Chapter 158. This is my new Takashi Hoshi technique. Look at my eyes. Wang Lan opened his eyes, which were covered in a layer of golden light. This layer of golden light was very faint, but could be seen if one looked closely. Takashi Hoshi eye technique? No, but it comes with the ability of dynamic vision and long-range vision. Amazing, Su Xiangwen said in a low voice. Again. This time, I'll let you split into two. Yeah, Xinyu is here too? Wang Lan noticed Jiang Xinyu's arrival. You didn't call me for your sparring match? Jiang Xinyu said with a smile, but her eyes inadvertently swept over CSCC. With Jiang Xinyu's intelligence, she instantly determined that CSCC's outfit today was definitely not for sparring. However, she didn't point it out. Instead, she immediately looked at Wang Lan. You guys continue. Once again, Wang Lan defeated Su Xiangwen, who had split into two doppelgangers. Su Xiangwen was so angry that he threw his hat and quit. He was already Nebula, yet he couldn't beat Wang Lan. However, Wang Lan knew that Su Xiangwen had lost because he had held back. If Su Xiangwen had speed and attack power, Wang Lan wouldn't have been able to win. However, dynamic vision came with the crescent moon arrow. With dynamic vision, Wang Lan's attack power was limited to basic skills. The only damage he could deal was 1-inch punch. This sparring session had also made Wang Lan realize the true disparity between herself and a Nebula-grade cultivator. How long had it been since Su Xiangwen had broken through Nebula? He was definitely one of the weaker Nebula. However, even the weaker Nebula could crush Wang Lan. Wang Lan had been too optimistic about the provincial tournament in a few months. In the arena, no one would hold back against Wang Lan. Being unable to use two Takashi Hoshi techniques at the same time was a fatal restriction on Wang Lan. After the break, Su Xiangwen and Jiang Xinyu sparred again. Within the electromagnetic barrier, Jiang Xinyu completely let herself go. At this moment, Wang Lan also understood that the gap between himself and Jiang Xinyu was still an invisible gap. In any case, Su Xiangwen was practically pressed to the ground by Jiang Xinyu. Su Xiangwen's rupturing fist couldn't break through Jiang Xinyu's ice armor. Jiang Xinyu could even stand still and tire Su Xiangwen to death. On the other hand, Jiang Xinyu's ice chill slowed down and ice frost roar beat Su Xiangwen until he couldn't do anything. Today might have been a fulfilling day for Wang Lan, a day of getting beaten up for Su Xiangwen, a day of venting for Jiang Xinyu, but a day of depression for CSCC. CSCC originally wanted to spend some time alone with Wang Lan. Even if they didn't do anything, just sit on the balcony and drink tea under the sun, it would be fine. But instead, she watched the three of them practice for the entire day. After the battle, the four of them left at the same time. Before they left, Jiang Xinyu asked Wang Lan, "School is about to start. Wang Lan, how far are you for Nebula with your star power?" "I just reached the late stage of the Star Glory stage. I'm still very far from Nebula, but it's unlikely that I'll make it before graduation, unless I can catch the demon's hidden spy a few more times." Wang Lan didn't say this out loud, because even he didn't believe it. After this operation during the new year, the demon spy network in Sioux City should have been hit hard. Even the workshop for the production of the demonic elixir had been dug out by the Heavenly Sword Bureau. They probably wouldn't dare to jump around for a while. If you don't make it to Nebula, there's not much hope for you to make it to the provincial tournament. If there's no hope for you to advance, then you should try to show your potential. As long as you have a lot of potential, there's still hope. You don't have a good opinion of me, Wang Lan said cheekily. What if I win the championship? Then you'll have to work hard. Good luck. Cece, get in the car. Let's go shopping tonight. Huh? You've been fighting for a whole day. Aren't you tired? Cece, as a woman, you should know. For women, as long as they go shopping, they'll come back to life no matter how tired they are. I rarely go shopping, so I don't know. Wang Lan, I'll be going then. Have a good trip. Be careful on the road. After the three cars left, Wang Lan sat down in his seat, a little disappointed. Today, Su Xiangwen only left Wang Lan 50 skill points. Sigh. It wasn't easy to fight for a whole day. Should I really go and buy soul orbs? Now, he only needed 150 pills. Beep, beep. his phone suddenly rang. He looked at the caller ID. It was Li Ge. Hello. Are you home? Yes. I'm on my way to your house. Huh? What's the matter? Is there a mission? Hello. Hello. The other party hung up immediately. What kind of temper was that? No wonder he didn't have any friends. He returned to his room and took a shower. Just as he changed his clothes and dried his hair, Xiao AI reminded Wang Lan that Li Ge was here. When the elevator opened, Li Ge walked in with a stack of clothes in his hands. He handed the clothes to Wang Lan. Change and go back to the station. Red coat? I've been promoted again? Wang Lan asked subconsciously. Yes. Why are you here to pick me up? At this time, Wang Lan noticed that Li Ge was also wearing a red uniform. You've been promoted too? Thanks to you. Not only was my punishment revoked, but I was also promoted successfully. This time, it's not just the two of us who were promoted. Who else? Su Shiyun. Isn't he in Hainan? Even if he's on the horizon, I still have to rush back. Oh, wait a moment. I'll go change. Wang Lan hugged the clothes and ran into the room excitedly. He kicked the door shut. From a moment Li Ge entered the room, he had a straight face. Only when he saw Wang Lan happily close the door like a little rabbit did he suddenly reveal a smile that even he couldn't believe. Being cold to others was nothing more than his disguise. He couldn't accept men getting close to him, and he couldn't accept women getting close to him. Therefore, he could only use strangers don't come near to repel anyone who tried to get close. But in front of Wang Lan, who knew her true identity, he could temporarily remove his disguise. This time, it wasn't her mission to pick up Wang Lan. But at that moment, she wanted to see Wang Lan and share the joy that belonged to them. He had come, still wearing his mask. Only the moment Wang Lan closed the door did her heart feel incomparably relaxed and reveal a bright and sweet smile. Wang Lan really wanted to dance on the bed and sing a song at the top of his lungs. Whatever he lacked, he got it. Promotion wasn't important. It didn't matter if he was promoted to captain or senior captain, but the skill points were real. The ability to connect Takashi Hoshi in the system was like a tickle to Wang Lan's heart. Originally, he thought that he would only be able to gather more than 100 skill points after school started. He had even thought about it. Otherwise, he would be completely shameless. He would set up a ring on the field and challenge everyone in the Takashi Hoshi campus. It was fine to bully the first and second-year students. As long as there were skill points in the account, anything was fine. But surprises came as soon as he said they would. He quickly changed his clothes and stroked his hair coquettishly in front of the mirror. Wang Lan, how can you be so handsome? Puffed. Li Ge, who was outside the door, spat out the mouthful of black tea that he had just drunk. The door opened. Li Ge was covering his mouth, trying to hold back his coughing. What's wrong? Have you always been so narcissistic at home? No. Wang Lan shook his head. I'm just giving a professional and accurate statement of objective facts. Let's go. Is there still a celebration party? No, it's just for the three of us. It's in the director's office. They got into Li Ji's car. The car sped quickly and steadily on the flashing lights of the viaduct. The car was probably Li Ji's private car. The interior was simple but high-end. Moreover, the car was fast. There was no turbulence in the car at all. It was too quiet. Wang Lan was not used to it. He casually chatted. This car is not bad. It's okay. Why don't you play music? It's soulless to drive without music. I don't like to play music when there are people behind me. The sound of the music will cover up the movement behind me. If something happens, I won't be able to react immediately. Li Ge, it's hard for you to have friends like this. Wang Lan sighed. Hello, cool dog, huh? Why are you playing again? I suddenly realized that I should have a friend. Wang Lan leaned back in his seat and suddenly smiled. The car slowly stopped. Wang Lan opened the door, exhaled a white breath in the light, and then tightened the buttons on his collar. He smoothed out the wrinkles on his clothes. Although it was already after the new year, the temperature was still 2 degrees below zero. This was considered good. In the southern cities, it was at most a few degrees below zero. He heard that the temperature in the northern cities today was at least 50 degrees below zero. As soon as he arrived at the main hall of the main building, he saw a figure shivering in the corridor with his arms crossed. The frequency of his shivering was as if he was electrified. Yo, Brother Sue? What's wrong with you? Wang Lan, hurry, hurry up and send me a stream of astral power. I'm freezing. Wait, don't tell me you're only wearing a vest under your military uniform. Brother Sue, how dare you wear this in a weather of 2 degrees below zero? I'm not convinced by the wall, but by you. Forget it. I was having barbecue in Hainan 3 hours ago. Wang Chu called me and asked me to come back immediately. As soon as I got off the plane, I was picked up by Xiaoyao. That bastard put me down just like that and didn't even leave me with a piece of clothing. Seeing that Su Shiyun was really pitiful, Wang Lan sent a stream of astral power over. Unfortunately, as soon as he sent it in, it was instinctively rejected by Su Shiyun's astral power. Since the astral power couldn't be transmitted, it couldn't be used as a heating pad. Brother Su, I'm sorry. I want to, but I can't. Unexpectedly, this guy was also a tough guy. He directly opened his arms and hugged Wang Lan in his arms. Wang Lan had the property of fire, so his astral power flowed like a human-shaped hot water bag. Brother Su, what are you doing? Let go of me, or I'll scream. Go ahead. No one will listen to you, even if you scream yourself hoarse. Su Shiyun laughed and hugged Wang Lan, making a moan that almost made Wang Lan use the Takashi Hoshi skill. Cough. In the corner of the corridor, Li Ge followed Wang Qianfeng and walked in front of him. Wang Lan clearly felt that Su Shiyun's body stiffened. He looked up and saw Wang Qianfeng and Li Ji's weird and disgusted eyes. He even wanted to die. No, Wang Chu, I was just playing with Wang Lan. Is that what you think? What are you doing? Don't make a fool of yourself in front of Director Zhang. Yes. Tap, tap, tap. With the sound of footsteps, a female guard in a red uniform strode over and saluted Wang Qianfeng. Wang Chu, I'm ordered to take the 3 of you to the director's office. Okay. Su Shiyun, Li Ge, Wang Lan, please come with me. Chapter 159. In Lu Zhao's office, Lu Zhao was not alone. Zhang Xiaoyu, the director of Jiang Province, was also there. Wang Lan and the other 2 entered the director's office and stood in a straight line. Heavenly Sword Bureau, Intelligence Division, Action Team, Captain Su Shiyun, reporting to the director. Heavenly Sword Bureau, Action Team, Captain Li Ge, reporting to the director. Heavenly Sword Bureau, Intelligence Division, Wang Lan, reporting to the director. Ha ha ha! Hearing Wang Lan's report, a burst of laughter was heard. A middle-aged man opposite Lu Zhao looked over with a mocking smile. That smile made Wang Lan feel like he was being coveted by an old fox. Wang Lan had heard of Zhang Xiaoyu's name more than once. The director of Jin City's Heavenly Sword Bureau was also the director of Jiang Province's Heavenly Sword Bureau. He was less than 50 years old and held the rank of lieutenant general. He was at the peak of Star Sea Realm and one of the 100 titled Takashi Hoshi experts in Jade State. His title was Fox Fox, not the fox from Fox, but the fox from Nine-Tailed Demon Fox. If Wang Lan searched the internet, he would find many legends about Zhang Xiaoyu. He became famous at a young age and became famous before the age of 20. He became more stable after the age of 30 and broke through to Star Sea Realm. It had been more than a decade since then. Is everyone here? Zhang Xiaoyu stood up with a smile on his face. Director, everyone is here. Zhang Xiaoyu stood up and opened the first box. He took out a pair of captain's epaulets and slowly walked over to Su Shiyun. Su Shiyun, I know you. You used to be a soldier of the Takashi Hoshi army in the southeast military region. You were already a captain when you were 26 years old. Later, you participated in overseas missions and showed off our country's prestige. You achieved 2 second-class merits and 12 third-class merits. You completed all the missions given to you by your country and defended the country's honor. Nani country once planned to use the royal princess to rope you in. Don't you want to consider it? Reporting to the chief, I was born as a citizen of the Jade State, and I will die as a citizen of the Jade State. Heaven can bear witness to my sincerity. Good job. Zhang Xiaoyu put the epaulette on Su Shiyun's shoulder. If you had stayed in the army, you would have been a field officer. Reporting to chief, I only want to fight on the front line. When I learned that the demons were ready to make a move, and the Heavenly Sword Bureau had already clashed with the demons, I knew that the army was no longer suitable for me. So, I joined the Heavenly Sword Bureau. Ha, I like what you're saying. We, the Heavenly Sword Bureau, are the ones fighting on the front lines. What Special Warfare Takashi Hoshi Brigade or Special Operations Team? They're all eating dust behind us. Very good. I look forward to your performance. The two of them bowed solemnly. Zhang Xiaoyu took out another epaulet and came in front of Li Gu. Zhang Xiaoyu stared straight into Li Ji's eyes. Li Gu, I've never heard of your name before. Tell me, when did you join the Heavenly Sword Bureau? Reporting to the chief, March 8, 1717. In 1717, you were promoted to captain in less than 2 years. Tell me, how did you do it? Reporting to the chief, in 19 months, I completed 17 A-level missions, 54 B-level missions, and 127 C-level missions. The record of incomplete missions is 1. Why is there 1? Since you didn't complete many missions, why didn't you complete none? Reporting to the chief, I underestimated the enemy. Chief, this is what happened. At that time, Li Gu was ordered to monitor the spy team that we discovered. After half a month of monitoring, the demon spy was tipped off and quickly retreated. Li Gu, who was in charge of monitoring, immediately took action to capture them. But he didn't expect to fall into the demon's trap. The demons self-destructed and died. Li Gu was also seriously injured. Except for him, everyone in his team died. Actually, that one mission wasn't considered incomplete. At least the demons that were being monitored didn't escape. And later, we successfully caught the entire demon spy group in one fell swoop. Lu Zhao hurriedly explained to Zhang Xiaoyu. In less than 2 years, you've completed so many missions. You've completed all the missions that Chief Su gave you, right? Everyone in the Heavenly Sword Bureau is a steel warrior. But that's only the will to fight, not the body. Even if you're a metal-type Takashi Hoshi, you're not a real Iron Man. Take care of your body. Don't tire yourself out at such a young age. The country needs young people, not only for your present, but also for your future. Saying this, Zhang Xiaoyu personally put the epaulet on Li Ji's shoulder. The two saluted again. Zhang Xiaoyu slowly walked in front of Wang Lan. He raised his head and looked straight into Wang Lan's eyes. Chief, originally, today's award ceremony could have been completed by your Chief Lu. There's still a lot of things to do at the Jin City headquarters. But after the meeting this morning, I immediately rushed to Sioux City. Do you know why? Reporting, I don't know. No other reason. I just wanted to see you. Zhang Xiaoyu took out the third box and took out a pair of captain epaulets. He slowly put them on Wang Lan's shoulders. Congratulations to the host for being promoted to captain. Reward, 1,000 skill points. The notification sounded in his mind. At that moment, he felt as if he had been holding back for a long time and was finally released. That was a Takashi Hoshi technique. It was like a mosquito sucking blood from your heart. You couldn't even scratch it. It was too annoying. You're Wang Lan. Do you know that because of you, many important people in the Ministry of National Defense didn't have a good New Year? Reporting, your humble servant deeply apologizes. Well, you don't have to apologize. This kind of thing, the more you do in the future, the better. Do you know when you first dug out the demon spy group, the second chief put down the phone and praised you on the spot as a young hero? A young hero. Then, on New Year's Eve, you broke the spy. On New Year's Day, and on New Year's Day, you broke the magic medicine workshop. When the first chief heard about it, he slapped the table and praised you. Wang Lan's face didn't show the proud expression that a young man should have. Instead, his face was calm and his eyes were empty. Seeing this scene, Zhang Xiaoyu's evaluation of Wang Lan in his heart increased. At such a young age, you already have such steady composure. No wonder you can repeatedly hit the demons. In fact, Wang Lan was currently looking at his epaulets in the system. The captain epaulet and crutches were really nice. On the system page, the military epaulets were sparkling. But then, Zhang Xiaoyu took out a medal from a box. When they saw this medal, Su Shiyun and Li Ji's faces suddenly changed. This is the Glorious Sun medal? Even Lu Zhao had a look of shock on his face. Zhang Xiaoyu brought the glorious sun metal, which was something that even he didn't expect. Previously, he thought that at most, a first-class medal would be enough. Even if there was a medal, it would be the Black Moon Medal. The Glorious Sun Medal was the highest honor awarded by the Ministry of National Defense. Every Glorious Sun Medal represented an extremely high honor and status. Only those who were recognized as having made outstanding contributions to the civilization of mankind could be classified as military achievements only. For example, during the crisis of human civilization, only those who were able to save the world in one battle were qualified to be awarded the Glorious Sun Medal. Since the end of the Jade States dynasty more than 200 years ago, only 88 Glorious Sun Medals were awarded, and most of them were awarded during the war of more than 100 years. Among them, 60 Glorious Sun Medals were awarded after death. Those who were alive to receive the Glorious Sun Medal were few and far between. We have always hoped that there would be talented people under our command. We hope that the soldiers under our command can continue to make contributions and protect the legacy of our human civilization. But you're the only one I have ever seen and heard of who made contributions faster than the award. Any one of your contributions is not enough to award this Glorious Sun Medal. But with so many contributions, the Ministry of National Defense made an exception and awarded you the Glorious Sun Medal. Do you know when the last Glorious Sun Medal was awarded? I don't know. 8 years ago. The one who received the Glorious Sun Medal was your mother, Wang Ling. If your mother comes back, she will be proud of you. Zhang Xiaoyu pinned the medal on Wang Lan's chest. Congratulations to the host for receiving the rare medal. You can sacrifice the item. The system prompt sounded at the same time. But at this moment, Wang Lan's mind was no longer paying attention to the system prompt. He did not even care about why he was not given any skill points after receiving the medal. My mother is back. Wang Lan raised his head and looked at Zhang Xiaoyu in front of him. Zhang Xiaoyu smiled and patted Wang Lan's shoulder without saying anything. Instead, he turned to Lu Zhao and smiled faintly. Well, the matter is done. I will leave the rest of the rewards to you. I still have a meeting tonight, so I will return to Jin City. Director, I will see you out. Lu Zhao then looked at Su Shiyun and the other two. You can leave. Yes. The three of them bowed together, turned around, and opened the door to leave. Wang Lan, the Glorious Sun Medal. Su Shiyun said excitedly to Wang Lan as he walked out the door. At this moment, Wang Lan lowered his head with a gloomy face. Didn't I make a contribution and get the honor? Why does it look like I was scolded? Li Ge grabbed Su Shiyun and said coldly, Wang Lan needs to be alone. Don't disturb him. Wang Lan turned a deaf ear to her and continued to walk towards the elevator. Why are there no skill points? A resentful voice sounded from the empty elevator. There were only 2 medals on the system's medal page. One was the Black Moon Medal, which was red. The other was the Glorious Sun Medal, which was squeezed in front of the Black Moon Medal. It was sparkling blue. Moreover, there was an 11 icon under the Glorious Sun Medal's icon. What was the system prompt before? At that time, he was only focused on waiting for his mother to come back. He did not pay attention to the implication of this sentence. He focused his mind on the medal. Fortunately, there was a description. Rare medal, sacrificial type tool. Through the sacrificial medal, it can be exchanged between illusion and reality. It can be exchanged for an illusion in the host's memory to become reality. An illusion in the memory to become reality? What is this? Taking the elevator back to the ground floor, Wang Lan suddenly realized that he seemed to have taken Li Ji's car. How could he go back? Looking back, were Li Ge and Su Shiyun. Fortunately, it was not too late. Wang Lan walked to the outside of Xinghai Park and then called for a Didi. When he walked into the house, it was almost 10 o'clock. Wang Lan could not wait to enter the underground training room. With 1,800 skill points, the chain Takashi Hoshi skill was of course immediately implemented. Sinking into the system, with a slight heartache, he used the skill points to build a bridge between the New Moon Arrow and the Flame Blade. When the 2 skills were completed, with a bang, a violent storm of information exploded in Wang Lan's mind. With a buzzing sound, Wang Lan felt like his head was hit by someone with a wooden stick. His head was heavy, his feet were light, and he was dizzy. After a long time, Wang Lan's consciousness became clear. In an instant, Wang Lan finally realized what kind of changes had happened to him in these days. Chapter 160. The most direct change was in the control of the two types of Takashi Hoshi skills. Wang Lan could clearly feel that he could use Flaming Blade at the same time as the Crescent Moon Arrow. In other words, he could use both Takashi Hoshi skills at the same time. The problem that had been bothering Wang Lan before was that when facing a high-speed and agile Takashi Hoshi, Wang Lan's dynamic vision could help him see the other party's movements clearly and react in time. However, when using dynamic vision, he could not use powerful killing skills. But now, Wang Lan could easily use Flaming Blade while using dynamic vision. If he fought with Su Xiangwen again, Wang Lan could easily crush him, even if Su Xiangwen used Rupturing Fist. After all, in terms of lethality, his Rupturing Fist was not as good as Flaming Blade. However, this was not the real value of the series. The real value of the series was the perfect combination of Flaming Blade and Crescent Moon Arrow. He could condense Flaming Arrow in the same way as Flaming Blade. Flaming Arrow? This was a direct transformation of Takashi Hoshi's long-range shooting skill into a long-range attack with Flaming Blade. Wang Lan hurriedly set up an arrow target 100 meters away. After thinking about it, he added a layer of steel plate behind the arrow target. After doing all this, Wang Lan was about to test the power of the arrow, but he was still worried. He moved the arrow target to where the PS armor was. If the steel plate could not block it, it would blow up a hole in the basement. After making all the necessary preparations, Wang Lan walked to the 100 meters mark. Looking at the arrow target in front of him, he took a deep breath. In an instant, a wave of astral power surged. Wang Lan's eyes were covered with a layer of gold. The arrow target that was originally far away seemed to be right in front of him. He raised his finger and made a pistol shape. In an instant, a pair of golden wings popped out from his wrist. The golden wings were burning with red flames. Whoosh! An arrow that was twice the size of the previous one shot out, carrying with it a raging inferno. Boom! The target was standing there, and the steel plate behind the target was also standing there. However, the explosion had exploded on the PS armor. Beep, beep, beep. Energy level 50. F***CK. Wang Lan cursed on spot. Previously, Wang Lan's Crescent Moon Arrow only had 10 energy points when it was upgraded to silver-ranked level 9. 10 points of energy was about the same as the strength of a Python sniper rifle that hit a target within 500 meters. That was an anti-material sniper rifle used to hit armored vehicles. If this arrow had hit a galaxy-grade Takashi Hoshi, even if it had not hit a vital point, he would have died without a doubt. But now it had quadrupled. Its power was comparable to that of an aerial cannon. Wang Lan couldn't wait to go to the target. When he saw it clearly, he sucked in a breath of cold air. The target was motionless, and so was the steel plate behind it. It wasn't that the arrow had bypassed the target, but rather that the target had been pierced through almost effortlessly. There was a hole as thick as a thumb on the target, and it had hit the bull's eye. On the steel plate behind the target, there was a hole as thick as a wrist. This hole wasn't formed by the arrow, but by the high-temperature flames surrounding the arrow. Around the hole, there were clear traces of molten iron. How could a flaming arrow be so powerful? And this was just the red flames that Wang Lan had used. If he had used a purple flame arrow, how powerful would it be? Wang Lan felt excited just thinking about it. This was a composite Takashi Hoshi technique. It was worthy of being a composite Takashi Hoshi technique that only galaxy-grade cultivators could use. No wonder it was said that galaxy-grade cultivators were the top experts among Takashi Hoshi. The power of a composite Takashi Hoshi technique was multiplied by several times. His excitement didn't last long. Wang Lan wasn't the kind of person who could stay excited for long. Soon, Wang Lan calmed down. In his mind, there was still a special sacrificial tool waiting for him to study. Wang Lan still didn't quite understand what it meant to replace reality with illusion. He immersed his mind in the system and opened the metal page. The metal emitting a blue light was like a coquettish woman teasing Wang Lan. He focused his mind on the metal. Suddenly, a dialogue box jumped out. Do you want to use 500 skill points as a sacrifice? F***CK. Do I still need skill points? You didn't even give me my metal skill points, and you still want my skill points? Looking at the system that still had 800 skill points left, Wang Lan gritted his teeth. If I had known that you were a scammer, I would have realized it earlier. Fine, you're awesome. He filled up the skill points and activated it instantly. Suddenly, the metal in the system erupted with light like fireworks. In an instant, a golden lantern appeared in front of Wang Lan. I seem to have seen this thing before. Before I transmigrated, I saw a lantern when I accidentally died. Am I going to die again? Is the system trying to take my life? The lantern spun quickly. Many of the images were from movies, TV shows, and cartoons that Wang Lan had seen in his previous life. At this moment, Wang Lan suddenly understood. Illusions were swapped with reality, turning the illusions in Wang Lan's memory into reality. If this was the case, what kind of F***king thing was this? Was this uproar in heaven? The great sage, heaven's equal? If the great sage, heaven's equal came, whatever demons, they would all be destroyed. Maybe they would also destroy all the cars and skyscrapers on the streets. The uproar in heaven was over. The images quickly changed again. Resident Evil. F***CK get lost. If the Resident Evil was swapped, humans wouldn't even need the demons to do anything. They would just destroy themselves. The alien spaceship below? Not bad. Technology that was a few hundred years ahead of Sky Blue Planet. But the next scene, F***CK, was an alien? F***CK. What kind of movies did I watch before? The images quickly changed. Each one of them made Wang Lan's heart tremble. Many of these things, once they appeared, the entire human civilization will be finished immediately. Ding. Found an item that matches the host's requirements. Do you want to exchange? The image was frozen. It was a classic cartoon that he had seen when he was young, Saint Seiya. If I don't exchange, what will happen? The item exchange will be invalid. There is no chance for a refund. The system gave Wang Lan an unprecedented response. But it wasn't a verbal response, it was a word card. Then, how do you know what I need? The exchange target is only beneficial to the host, but the specific effect depends on the host's luck. All right, exchange. Ding. The lantern in front of him suddenly exploded. Wang Lan vaguely saw a green box. Before Wang Lan could take a closer look, the green box suddenly turned into a ray of light. Then, Wang Lan's vision returned to the scene in the underground cultivation room. Where's the item? Where's the box? Wang Lan looked around, but there was nothing. At this time, Wang Lan felt that there seemed to be something in his palm. It was a square tag. It looked green, and he didn't know what material it was made of. Searching his memory, the image froze in the GG anime from Japan in his previous life. In Saint Seiya, it seemed that the holy garment of the 5 unyielding experts was no longer a big box on their back, but a light tag. Looking at the pattern on the tag, it was a simple phoenix pattern. Could it be the phoenix constellation holy garment? Did it have to be so melodramatic? Wang Lan tried to flick the tag out gently. The tag spun in the air. Ding dang. With a crisp sound, the tag fell to the ground. In an instant, the tag lit up, and a white magic array spread out with the tag as the center. In a magic array, there was a loud phoenix cry. A phoenix reflecting a metallic glow slowly rose from the magic array. It's really the phoenix constellation holy garment. Wang Lan sized up the holy garment. At this time, the holy garment exploded. It turned into parts and rushed into Wang Lan's body. Using Wang Lan's feelings at that time, he didn't understand anything, and the holy garment put on by itself. When he put on the holy garment, suddenly, the star power around Wang Lan surged wildly. The star palace above his head slowly opened, and a steady stream of star power flowed from the holy garment into the star palace above his head. The stars in the star palace suddenly flashed with an even more dazzling light. The holy garment was only an aid to the Saint Seiya. It could provide the Saint Seiya with protection and the enhancement of the small universe. But in itself, the holy garment couldn't replace the Saint Seiya. Even without the holy garment, a powerful Saint Seiya was still a powerful Saint Seiya. So, even if he put on the holy garment, Wang Lan didn't get the inheritance of the phoenix wings in the sky. But the enhancement of the star power was real. And after putting on the holy garment, Wang Lan felt a strong sense of security wrapped around him. It was as if with the holy garment, even if there was a mountain of knives and a sea of fire in front of him, he could still charge forward courageously. In addition to the enhancement of strength, the holy garment also seemed to give Wang Lan a lot of mental enhancement. For example, faith, tenacity, perseverance, hot-bloodedness, courage, fearlessness. Damn, who wants these things? Now, Wang Lan finally understood why the 5 unyielding experts were so retarded. They were just a bunch of bronze. Where did they get the courage to fight the 12 zodiac temples? Each of them was shouting about faith. Can't lose for Athena. Don't they know what level they are at? If the 12 zodiac temples hadn't released the water of the Pacific Ocean, the 5 unyielding experts wouldn't have had to carry the holy garment in their chests. They could have just stored their ashes. Now, Wang Lan knew that it was the holy garment's fault. Wearing the holy garment, Wang Lan dared to fight 10 people alone. Fortunately, this world might not have the will of Athens. So, that feeling of hot-bloodedness didn't affect Wang Lan's consciousness. After getting used to it for a while, Wang Lan calmed down again. The St. Cloth's amplification to Wang Lan was absolutely obvious. Even her star power had doubled from before she wore it. Moreover, it seemed that his strength and speed had increased to a certain extent. This was only the bronze holy garment. If it was a silver or gold holy garment, Wang Lan felt that he could go head-to-head with a Galaxy Realm expert. With a thought from Wang Lan, the saint robe on her body instantly shattered and reassembled into the appearance of a phoenix. However, the next moment, Wang Lan was very surprised. The phoenix holy garment didn't turn into a metal plate. Instead, it turned into a stream of light and rushed into Wang Lan's star palace. The holy garment disappeared, but Wang Lan could clearly feel its existence. With a thought and opening the star palace, the holy garment would automatically appear. If he wore this to participate in the province's martial arts competition, wouldn't he be suspected of cheating? Wang Lan thought about it and shook his head with a bitter smile. Forget it. He might as well use the phoenix form to participate in the competition. At least the phoenix form was Takashi Hoshi's skill. The holy garment was obviously a cheat. Chapter 161. The free winter break passed in the blink of an eye. While tens of millions of primary and secondary school students were still immersed in the freedom of the new year, the alarm bell suddenly rang as school reopened. Looking back, there was still too much unfinished homework left by the teacher. Although in the last few days, the students tried their best to catch up on their homework before school reopened, the vast amount of homework had exceeded the limit of what the students could bear. In the end, they could only regretfully step into the school gate with apprehension. Have you finished your winter break homework? This was the colloquial greeting between students who had not seen each other for 20 days. Students who had dogs at home would smile knowingly after greeting each other. They would use the excuse that they were not afraid of getting old and ask if they had a dog. Compared to the huge amount of homework of the ordinary classes, the students in the Takashi Hoshi campus had much better days. At least, their homework was only enough for them to work hard for a day. The company went back to work, the school reopened, the New Year atmosphere dissipated, and the peaceful years began again. Even the Heavenly Sword Bureau, which had been busy for the whole new year, returned to the peace of the past few years. For Wang Lan and the other third-year students in the last semester of high school, the next few months would be the most difficult years of their lives. The ordinary third-year students were given papers to do every day. Wang Lan and the other students in the Takashi Hoshi campus practiced every day and practiced combat every day. Combat was no longer just barehanded combat, but a battle where they could use the Takashi Hoshi skills. Most students had not yet mastered the Takashi Hoshi skills. Therefore, there was a change in the division of the training. The students who had the Takashi Hoshi skills were in one group, and the students who did not were in another group to practice basic combat. In Wang Lan's class, there were less than 20 students who had the Takashi Hoshi skills, and most of them were D and C grade Takashi Hoshi skills. At this time, the reality of the gap between the students was exposed in front of everyone. After the winter break, the number of Nebula Masters in the class had increased to 6. In addition to the 3 people from the Takashi Hoshi family, there are also Jiang Xinyu, Su Xiangwen, and Gong Feiyu. The 6 of them completed 3 groups of training. As for the other Star Blazing students who had the Takashi Hoshi skills, 7 of them were children of Takashi Hoshi families, and 6 were children of wealthy families with businesses. Almost all the Takashi Hoshi students from ordinary families could only watch. To them, the students who they had once thought to be on par with each other had suddenly become existences that they could only look up to and could not even hope to reach. Even if it was only a C-class Star Martial technique, once it was used, students without Star Martial techniques would have a high probability of being easily defeated. But among them, there were 2 of the students of the class. One was CSCC, and the other was Wang Lan. These 2 people gave Lu of a headache of the day. No matter how they were grouped, it was not appropriate. Wang Lan alone beat up all the Star Blazing students. Even the strongest student in Star Blazing, who had the B-grade Takashi Hoshi skill, was killed in one move by Wang Lan. On the 4th day of school, Wang Lan, in view of the lack of skill points in the system, immediately issued an arrogant challenge to all 6 Nebula students. In the end, it was very exciting. Lu Jie was not paying attention, and his blood pressure rose. In less than 10 minutes, Wang Lan defeated all the students in Nebula who had the Takashi Hoshi skill with just dynamic vision, using strength to prove that Lu Jie's grouping was meaningless. But unfortunately, only a few students were rewarded with skill points. Most of them were not. Wang Lan had noticed this at the end of the first half of the semester. In the end, he speculated that defeating people who were much weaker than him wouldn't give him any experience or skill points. If that was the case, even if he defeated Lu Jie now, Wang Lan might not get any skill points. It was basically the same situation on CSC's side. At the beginning of the first half of the semester, CSC was still a little kitten who didn't know how to fight, but at the end of the first half of the semester, she suddenly exploded into a tigress. Now that the new semester had begun, CSC only needed to make one move to knock out her opponent. This worried Lu Jie terribly. CSC didn't have the Takashi Hoshi skill, so she was at a disadvantage against the student who had the Takashi Hoshi skill. Although they were both Star Blazing, their true strength wasn't on the same level. But what about Wang Lan? If the outside world found out that Star Blazing and Nebula were to fight, what would happen? Shocking. The Takashi Hoshi class combat teacher of Sioux City No. 1 Middle School actually let a Star Blazing student practice with Nebula. Was it a personal grudge or an old grudge? Was it the hatred of the previous generation or the conflict of the current generation? Just thinking about this scene was horrifying. The 5th day of school, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Looking at the group of students standing neatly in front of him, Lu Jie's frown was a little tangled. CSC, Wang Lan, you 2 come out first. The rest of you will be divided into groups, as usual. The students moved and divided into 3 groups. Nearly 30 ordinary students looked at the other 2 groups with envy. The stark difference in strength made them unable to sleep well for the past few nights. Usually, everyone got along well and often bragged together. They also thought about which school they would get into for the college entrance examination. Sometimes, it was inevitable that they would flatter each other in business. You're an expert, I'm trash. Your liberal arts grades are better than mine, and we're about the same in actual combat. You'll definitely get into Cebu Gakuen, which is better than mine. No. In fact, your actual combat is better than mine. Your liberal arts grades are just a little better. You won't pull your marks down. But in the blink of an eye, the scene of the past was like a loud slap to the face. It turned out that you were all pretending to be pigs to eat tigers. Only I was the real pig. The actual combat of the college entrance examination definitely wasn't just about barehanded combat. The Takashi Hoshi skill was also a key part of the actual combat assessment. Although they were both star-blazing students, their strength was about the same. Those who didn't have the Takashi Hoshi skill didn't necessarily lose to those who had the Takashi Hoshi skill. But the chances of winning were actually not high. Unless it was someone like CSCC. CSCC didn't have the Takashi Hoshi skill, but the entire class dared to say that in Star Blazing, other than the abnormal Wang Lan, CSCC couldn't beat anyone. How about this? After careful consideration, CSCC will be joining the second group for sparring. In the second group, CSCC classmate doesn't have the Takashi Hoshi skill, so I hope you guys can be careful. Be careful not to hurt CSCC classmate. Got it. Teacher, aren't you being too careful? Don't hurt the class leader. We're all afraid of being hurt by the class leader. That's right. With a class leader's strength, I dare say that even if she doesn't know the Takashi Hoshi skill, she can still squeeze into the top 20 of the entire grade. Anyway, you guys just have to be careful. CSCC classmate, what do you think? It won't be a problem. Teacher, if they want to hit me with the Takashi Hoshi skill, even if I can't block it, I can still dodge it. That's good. As for Wang Lan classmate, Lu Jie scratched his head. You said that you have the Takashi Hoshi skill? What is your Takashi Hoshi skill? When he asked this question, the entire class was stunned for 2 seconds. That's right, from the first day of school, Wang Lan was in the group of students who had the Takashi Hoshi skill. But for 4 days in a row, no one had seen Wang Lan use the Takashi Hoshi skill. Wang Lan relied on his coquettish positioning to quickly close in on his opponent and KO him with one punch. From beginning to end, he had never used the Takashi Hoshi skill. Today, when Lu Jie asked, the students suddenly realized, Teacher, I have mastered 2 A-level Takashi Hoshi skills. One is called Nebula Sword Dance, and the other is called Flaming Blade. Wang Lan answered obediently. Oh, A-level Takashi Hoshi skill? To what extent have you mastered it? Lu Jie asked with shining eyes. The requirement to learn the A-level Takashi Hoshi skill was to be in Nebula. Of course, if one was talented, Star Blazing could also be learned. But to fully master it, one had to be in Nebula. It was acceptable that Wang Lan had the A-level Takashi Hoshi skill. Su Xiangwen, Jiang Xinyu, Gong Feiyu, and the others all had the A-level Takashi Hoshi skill. It didn't matter if they didn't have the inheritance. As long as they had money, they could buy a good Takashi Hoshi skill. Don't say that the world was unfair. There were many unfair things in the world. Moreover, even if they could spend money to buy the A-level Takashi Hoshi skill, they had to have the ability to learn it. Lu Jie had experienced a lot. For example, Jiang Xinyu, Wang Lan, and the others, Lu Jie was convinced from the bottom of his heart. They had the resources and the talent, and they were even more hardworking than those who had no resources and no talent. If they didn't rise to the top and take the lead, would there still be justice? To what extent have you mastered it? It's hard to say. It should be quite high, right? Then I'll put you in the first group. What do you think, holy **T? Suddenly, a person in the first group exclaimed. Lu Jie frowned, and his face darkened. Could it be that I didn't establish enough prestige in the first half of the semester? Someone actually dared to shout and interrupt me when I was talking. An F***CK? F***CK. Before Lu Jie could curse, suddenly, another student in the second group stared at Wang Lan as if he had seen a ghost. Qinhai, Ma, Changsheng, the two of you come out. Don't you have any discipline? Or do you have any objections to what I'm saying? No, Teacher Lu. Didn't you hear Wang Lan's introduction just now? The Takashi Hoshi skill he mastered? I heard it. What's the matter? 2 A-level Takashi Hoshi skills? What's so good about it? Let's not talk about other things. If 2 A-level Takashi Hoshi skills were thrown in front of you, would you be able to learn them? The higher the level of the Takashi Hoshi skill, the more difficult it is to learn. Do you think that a high-level star martial technique is a divine, secret technique? Do you think anyone can become an expert after practicing it? No. Those 2 Takashi Hoshi skills. One is called Nebula Sword Dance, and the other is Flaming Blade. Ma Changsheng hurriedly said. Yes, I heard it. So what? Teacher, don't you think it sounds familiar? It does sound familiar. Nebula's sword dance. Flaming blade. F***CK. Lu Jie jumped up on the spot and instantly took a few steps back. He looked at Wang Lan, who was still smiling in shock. At this time, most of the students also realized what the two Takashi Hoshi skills represented. Weren't these the Takashi Hoshi skills that represented the Wolf King? Moreover, these two Takashi Hoshi skills were very unpopular. In other words, most A-level Takashi Hoshi skills were very unpopular. After the Wolf King became famous in one battle, many people paid attention to the Wolf King's information, hoping to find some clues to the Wolf King's true identity. The Nebula Sword Dance was a family heirloom skill of a small Takashi Hoshi family with the surname Wang. This Takashi Hoshi skill had a high requirement for the control of astral power. Generally, one had to be talented in controlling astral power to learn it. The Flaming Blade wasn't too rare, but this Takashi Hoshi skill required a strong close combat ability to unleash its power. Fire attribute, Takashi Hoshi preferred long-range attacks. Since he was a fire mage, why did he have to be a close combat mage? Therefore, many people speculated that the Wolf King was from the Wang family. However, after some elimination, they found that none of them met the criteria for the Wolf King. Moreover, the Wang family also said that although the Nebula Sword Dance was their family heirloom skill, this Takashi Hoshi skill wasn't unique. Moreover, it had been handed over to the country long ago. It was reasonable that it wasn't learned by the Wang family. Lu Jie would never have thought that the Wolf King, who was doing the lesson plans for the whole class, was a student of his class. Chapter 162. When Wang Lan was recognized by Su Xiangwen and the others at the trial field last time, Wang Lan knew that he couldn't hide his identity as Little Wolf. That was why Wang Lan calmly revealed his Takashi Hoshi skills today. He couldn't hide his identity and not use Takashi Hoshi skills, right? And after half a year of cooling down, the outside world attention on Wang Lan would no longer affect Wang Lan. After all, back then, Wang Lan's popularity was a coincidence and the effects of the show. If Wang Lan had chosen to debut at that time, with the help of the management company, Wang Lan might have been popular until now. After the competition, Wang Lan immediately disappeared for half a year. Without a promoter behind him to constantly increase his popularity, Wolf King would naturally pass away before he could become famous. Today, half a year later, even if Wang Lan's true identity was exposed on the internet, the most the netizens would say was, "Oh, so he's Wolf King?" As for being sought after and surrounded, that was impossible. But if Wolf King was someone close to them, someone they had interacted with day and night, it would still cause a strong shock to the students of Class 1. "You're Wolf King?" Lu Jie asked again with his eyes wide open. "Last year, I anonymously participated in the Sioux City Takashi Hoshi competition. I originally just wanted to hone my combat skills, but I didn't expect it to become a topic of discussion. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint and won the championship. I didn't embarrass you, teacher." "Yes, you didn't embarrass me, but why's my face so hot?" He thought about how he would analyze Little Wolf's battle video in class. Wang Lan answered the questions incorrectly and was fiercely criticized a few times. The corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. But no matter what, one of his students had a Takashi Hoshi competition champion. Lu Jie felt that he could brag about this for the rest of his life. The students he taught were stronger than him. Wasn't that because his teaching standards were high? At this moment, Lu Jie shamelessly attributed Wang Lan's strength to his careful teaching. "In that case, Wang Lan, you'll be in Group 1. Although your performance in the Takashi Hoshi competition was very eye-catching, your opponent in the Takashi Hoshi competition is star-blazing. There are 6 Nebula in Group 1. I know, I'll be careful." Lu Jie watched Wang Lan walk into Group 1. In a trance, he didn't see 7 students. Instead, 7 heroes who would stand on the waves and hold up the human sky in the future. This year's class was the one with the greatest potential that Lu Jie had ever taught. On the eve of the 3rd year of high school graduation, a class with 6 Nebula Realm cultivators, what kind of concept was that? In the past years, it was already very impressive. "All right, You're free to form your own team now. Group 3, listen up. Although your strength isn't enough to enter a first-class school, remember that as long as you can enter Cebu Gakuen, one of the top 20 universities in the country, your future will also soar. What you lack is not talent, but hard work. As long as you work hard enough, even if you don't have Takashi Hoshi, you can still achieve good results. Student CSCC's improvement is obvious to all. She only used half a semester to achieve such great progress. What reason do you have not to work hard? These words caused the students in Group 3 to choke and roll their eyes. Work hard. Did CSCC's improvement come from hard work? How could she soar from the bottom to invincible in actual combat in half a semester? If you're so good, why don't you do it? However, Lu Jie's prestige was so great that the students in Group 3 didn't dare to refute him. They could only choose their own opponents. The strategy of the students who didn't have Takashi Hoshi was simple and clear. So what if they didn't know Takashi Hoshi? Can't I dodge if I can't catch it? As long as I dodge fast enough, your Takashi Hoshi won't be able to hit me. When your star power is depleted, we'll still be on the same level. This was another important reason why Lu Jie had been training Class 1's physical fitness for the past year. On the other side, the students in Group 2 also began to move. After Wang Lan left, CSCC came. Last semester, the students who were beaten up by CSCC had some restless thoughts. At that time, Takashi Hoshi wasn't allowed to be used in combat, so you beat them up. This time, they could use Takashi Hoshi, so they had to pay for it. Class rep, I'll spar with you? A chubby boy with a round face, who was obviously terrible at combat, hurriedly invited her. Squad leader, yeah, I'll do it. Get out of my way, chubby boy. Class rep, I'll spar with you. A bunch of stinky men just want to take advantage of you. Squad leader, yeah, Songbo, want to spar with you. In the crowd, she could still hear Songbo's panting. This put CSCC in a difficult position. CSCC wasn't the kind of person who would refuse an invitation. Usually, when someone begged her, she would agree. But now, with so many people inviting her, CSCC was in a difficult position. CSCC's eyes swept across the enthusiastic gazes. She bit her finger and pretended to think about it. How about, I agree to all of them. You guys can do it together? F*CK. F*CK. Are you serious? When did CSCC become so domineering? Hadn't she always been a soft little girl? If Wang Lan knew what these students were thinking, he would definitely sneer. You haven't seen how excited CSCC is. That's what you call wild. Come on, I'm going. Watch my earth armor, the chubby boy roared. The soil around him tumbled as he covered himself with a layer of armor. Then, he rushed towards CSCC. CSCC's figure flashed. She nimbly appeared on the chubby boy's head, which wasn't covered by the soil armor yet. Then, she swept her beautiful leg across. Pah! The chubby boy was like a flipped Brazilian tortoise as he fell on his back. CSCC instantly turned into a specter and charged into the group of 12 people. She used the imposing manner of punching the South Mountain Nursing Home and kicking the North Sea Kindergarten to sweep away all the Star Brilliance Realm students of the same level who possess star martial skills. What's going on? Wang Lan was about to spar with Su Xiangwen again. Suddenly, he was interrupted by the commotion behind him. Lu Jie rushed towards the second group's field. When he got closer, Lu Jie stopped in his tracks. He stared at the scene in front of him with frightened eyes. This was a tragic scene. CSCC's movements were like flowing water. Her fists and kicks were like fireworks. She shuttled through a group of students who had Takashi Hoshi skills. One person was chasing after 12 people. Lu Jie could accept that the person who wanted to do this was Wang Lan, because in Lu Jie's heart, Wang Lan's strength was already in the top 5 of the class. But CSCC, who was in the middle of star blazing, didn't even know Takashi Hoshi's skills. How could she fight 12 people at once? And these 12 people all had Takashi Hoshi skills. Was there any justice in this world? Where were your Takashi Hoshi skills? Were they all for nothing? But the scene in front of them undoubtedly exposed the fact that their Takashi Hoshi skills might really have been for nothing. Apart from the chubby boy who had successfully used Takashi Hoshi at the beginning, The others didn't even have the chance to use Takashi Hoshi. CSCC was too fast. Just as she felt the fluctuation of astral power, she instantly appeared in front of them and interrupted them. And a few of them even used Takashi Hoshi in a hurry. They didn't even see the person who used the skill. After a moment of surprise, Lu Jie gradually understood the trick. CSCC's speed and movements were too fast. She was so fast that it was beyond his understanding of star blazing. Moreover, when CSCC attacked and dodged, there was a faint fluctuation of astral power transmitted from her body. This wasn't Takashi Hoshi's skill? Wasn't this Takashi Hoshi's skill a body technique? Stop. What's wrong with you guys? Lu Jie walked over with a dark face. 12 against 1. 12 against 1 is one thing. But you guys are being beaten so badly? Teacher, don't explain. The invigilator won't listen to you during the college entrance exam. Take a break and fight your own battles. CSCC, come with me. Lu Jie left with CSCC. Maigetsu Castle crossed her arms and looked at CSCC's back curiously. Wang Lan, if I'm not wrong, CSCC should have mastered a Takashi Hoshi skill, right? Yes, I think so. Then why did she say that she doesn't know Takashi Hoshi? Squad leader Xie doesn't seem like that kind of person. Maybe she doesn't even know it herself. What do you mean? CSCC has been practicing very hard all year round. Every day, she would carry a few dozen kilograms of weights to practice and hit the cement piles every day. This kind of self-destructive practice would damage her body. In the beginning, she would be covered in scars after every day of practice. CSCC has extraordinary talent in controlling her star power, so she thought of a way. Every time she hit something that might hurt her, she would control her star power to add a layer of protection to the place she hit. After many years, CSCC gradually mastered a skill that combines star power and basic combat skills. She only thought that this was her way of practicing, but she didn't know that this skill of hers was already a Takashi Hoshi skill. During the time he spent with CSCC, he heard CSCC talk about her training methods. Only then did he know that CSCC's special skill was mastered after many years of adaptation and exploration. But when Maigetsu Castle heard this, his face suddenly changed, revealing a look of horror. She created her own Takashi Hoshi skill? Wang Lan looked at him doubtfully. It can't be, right? The use of this Takashi Hoshi skill is very shallow. It can't be considered a self-created Takashi Hoshi skill, right? Shallow. Of course it's shallow, because she created it unconsciously. But in the future, when she learns the profound application theory of star power, with professional guidance and systematic learning, this Takashi Hoshi skill will be perfected very quickly. But that's not the point. The point is, Squad Leader Xie, a star-blazing Takashi Hoshi, has successfully created a Takashi Hoshi skill when he was still a student? What kind of monstrous talent is this? Now that you mention it, I also think it's very amazing. Okay, let's not dawdle here. Xiangwen, come. This time I'll let you have 3 clones. Damn, I can't stand this temper. Su Xiangwen stomped his feet in anger. In an instant, his star power surged, and 3 identical clones appeared. The 4 Su Xiangwen surrounded Wang Lan in 4 corners. Lanzi, a 4-person mixed massage luxury package. Wait, make a mark on your original body. I'm afraid I'll accidentally kill you. Su Xiangwen took out a red ribbon and tied it tightly around his head. I'm going. In an instant, the 4 Su Xiangwen clones surged with star power, and their figures instantly blasted toward Wang Lan as fast as lightning. Dynamic vision, open. Wang Lan opened his eyes. In an instant, the pupil of his right eye turned pale gold. Chapter 163. In an instant, Su Xiangwen's figure flashed and rushed toward Wang Lan. The 4 figures were faster than a flash of light. Jiang Xinyu and the other 4 were even more alert as they watched the battle in front of them seriously. After Su Xiangwen activated 3 clones, even Jiang Xinyu found it difficult to deal with him. The 4 of them were telepathically connected, and their cooperation was impeccable. Jiang Xinyu could only rely on the method of flying kites, to keep Su Xiangwen away. The three Takashi Hoshi descendants of Maigatsuk Castle also looked serious. Although they had family inheritance, they approved of Jiang Sinyu's four-man team. Their potential was definitely not below theirs. Wang Lan's strength had been demonstrated in the Takashi Hoshi tournament, but after so many months, who knew how much Wang Lan had grown? With dynamic vision, the movements of Su Xiangwen and the other three were all in Wang Lan's eyes. If it were according to Wang Lan's previous tactics, he could only make evasive movements. Because no matter who Wang Lan attacked, he would be attacked by the other person. But now it was completely different. In an instant, two solar halos stretched out from Wang Lan's hands, and like sharp cutting blades, it spun at high speed. While blocking, it was also the most incisive attack. Boom! A blast of air exploded, and the four Su Xiangwen were instantly sent flying backward. Three of them retreated by themselves, and one was sent flying by Wang Lan's kick. Everything happened so quickly that even those who were staring at the two of them without blinking couldn't see what had happened. Only Maigatsuk Castle's eyes revealed a look of surprise. Wang Lan, you actually used Takashi Hoshi's skill switch to the flaming blade in an instant? Su Xiangwen asked with a puzzled look. At that time, if it were him, he definitely wouldn't be able to complete the switch and counterattack in less than a second. If he had reacted a little slower, Wang Lan would have taken 2 of his HP. Something's wrong. A deep voice sounded from Maigatsuk Castle. What's wrong? Lin Gao, who was beside him, also frowned and asked in a low voice. He did not see it clearly just now. Wang Lan didn't switch between Takashi Hoshi techniques. He's using 2 Takashi Hoshi techniques at the same time. For disciples of the Takashi Hoshi clan like them, their horizons and knowledge were far beyond that of Jiang Xinyu and the others. Maigatsuk Castle's words made Lin Gao and the others' expressions change drastically. Composite Takashi Hoshi technique? Are you sure you're not mistaken? It can't be wrong. How is that possible? Composite Takashi Hoshi is a high-level combat technique that even Nebula can't master. Only those who have reached the galaxy realm have the ability to try it out. He's star-blazing. That's why I've always said that Wang Lan is the most terrifying genius with the greatest potential I've ever seen. Even if he's a genius, he can't be this talented. Gu Xiang shook his head in disbelief. Even if he can't perform a composite Takashi Hoshi technique that combines 2 Takashi Hoshi techniques, using 2 Takashi Hoshi techniques at the same time is already a composite Takashi Hoshi technique in a sense. It's only a matter of time before he can fully perform a composite Takashi Hoshi technique. At this moment, Su Xiangwen launched another attack. This time, he changed his strategy. 3 feints and 1 main attack. Taking advantage of the moment when Wang Lan switched to the flaming blade, he used absolute speed to deliver a fatal blow to Wang Lan. In an instant, Wang Lan's flaming blade swept past the throat of one of Su Xiangwen's clones. Su Xiangwen's clone instantly exploded, while the other 2 Su Xiangwen fearlessly attacked Wang Lan with a suicidal move. Su Xiangwen kept an eye on Wang Lan, and the flaming blade in Wang Lan's hands never extinguished for a moment. This time it's in the bag. Su Xiangwen instantly caught the flaw in Wang Lan's movements and threw a punch at Wang Lan's back from an extremely tricky angle. At this moment, a classic scene unfolded. Wang Lan turned his head slightly and looked into Su Xiangwen's eyes behind him. That look made Su Xiangwen's heart stop. It wasn't a love that lasted 1,000 years, but a kind of sadness that came from his balls. Because at this moment, Wang Lan raised his leg. Almost subconsciously, Su Xiangwen's legs suddenly tightened. Taking advantage of this gap, Wang Lan instantly launched a 1-inch punch. Boom! Su Xiangwen's body flew backward as if he was pushed by an old man. F***CK. In the air, Su Xiangwen burst out a curse. Lin Gao and Gu Xiang, who were carefully watching Wang Lan, looked at each other at the same time and suddenly raised their middle fingers. Bastard! They didn't see it clearly the first time, but this time they saw it clearly. There was a clear fluctuation of star power in Wang Lan's eyes, which couldn't be sensed without professional training. And this fluctuation was the fluctuation of Takashi Hoshi's skill. It was just that the skill used little star power, or the skill wasn't released, so the fluctuation was extremely weak. The perception type Takashi Hoshi used the fluctuation of star power to determine the hiding position of the enemy. Two Takashi Hoshi skills were performed at the same time. Even if they were beaten to death, they couldn't believe that it would appear on the body of a Star Glory Realm star martial artist. Wang Lan, you. Su Xiangwen turned over and stood up. How did you use the flaming saber with your dynamic vision turn on? Jiang Xinyu and Gong Feiyu were shocked. They didn't have Maiget Castle's observation skills, so they thought it was just like Su Xiangwen said before, using the special ability of switching Takashi Hoshi skills without a time gap. But using two Takashi Hoshi skills at the same time was completely different. It's complicated. Wang Lan stopped fighting and scratched the back of his head hesitantly. There are many conditions to perform the composite Takashi Hoshi skill. You have to have a perfect grasp of the Takashi Hoshi skill, and your body has to have perfect control of star power. Most importantly, you have to understand the Takashi Hoshi skill to the root. Am I right? Wang Lan, Maiget Castle asked in a deep voice as he walked over slowly. It's not that complicated. I don't know how to say it in a way that you can understand and accept. Wang Lan was a little conflicted. Just say it. I'll ask you if I don't understand. Jiang Xinyu asked eagerly. The composite Takashi Hoshi skill. If there was anyone who needed the composite Takashi Hoshi skill the most, it would undoubtedly be Jiang Xinyu. She was born with 3 attributes, and with the combination of feng shui, there were too many Takashi Hoshi skills that could be performed at the same time. If she could master it, her strength would definitely be doubled. Didn't I fight with Lao Su a few days ago? At that time, although I had my dynamic vision turned on, I didn't have any attack power. I could dodge Lao Su's attack, but I couldn't effectively counterattack. It's definitely not my style to dodge and not fight back, right? So I thought about whether there was a way to use the flaming saber with my dynamic vision turned on. I began to study it wholeheartedly. It took me 4 days to study it, and I finally completed it yesterday. Crack! Maiget Castle's trio's cheeks suddenly made a crisp sound, and their eyes instantly lost their spirit. No matter how much you plan, it's impossible to guard against it. Damn it, this guy succeeded in showing off again. How can you believe that? After 4 days of study, I'll give you 4 years. Wang Lan, you're wrong. Let's not talk about anything else. Aren't we friends? Aren't you good friends with Su Xiangwen and the others? It's not good for you to hide it, right? I'm not hiding it. I'm serious. Look, don't we have left and right hands? Performing 2 Takashi Hoshi skills at the same time is just drawing a circle with the left hand and a square with the right hand, right? Of course, it's slightly more difficult than that. It's like drawing a circle with the left hand and a square with the right hand while quickly doing mental calculations and calligraphy at the same time. It's just multitasking and perfect control of star power. Just that. F*CK, let alone Wu Cheng and the others. Even I want to beat you up. Was this something that could be said so easily? What are you guys discussing? A voice sounded. Lu Jie and CSCC had returned after disappearing for so long. CSCC's face was filled with excitement and joy. Nothing much. We're just discussing the practical possibilities of recombining Takashi Hoshi skills. Lu Jie heard this and directly replied with a he. You're young, but your heart is quite wild. Is recombining Takashi Hoshi skills something you should be thinking about? Practice well. The provincial martial arts competition is coming soon. Do you think it's enough to be one of the best in Sioux City? Sioux City's strength is only average in Jiang Province. I heard that Jin City has 16 Nebula people in your batch. When the time comes, all 10 of Jin City's representatives will be Nebula. But Wang Lan has already successfully used the recombining Takashi Hoshi skills. Su Xiangwen pointed at the bastard with a face full of grief and indignation. My Takashi Hoshi skills are completely countered by him. I can't use any of my strength. Lu Jie once again let out a cold laugh, turned around, and walked towards the other sparring groups. Teacher Liu, you don't believe me? Su Xiangwen asked with a hurt expression. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, who would dare to believe it? Myget Suk Castle shook his head with a bitter smile. I can't do it. Jiang Sinyu's voice suddenly sounded. Everyone turned around and saw that in front of Jiang Sinyu there was a round square and a round square. You can't even draw different patterns with both hands at the same time. You expect to use two types of Takashi Hoshi skills at the same time? It's impossible. I'll try to. Maybe I have the talent. Su Xiangwen picked up two stones and tested them on the ground. I'll try to. For a moment, the elite players in the first group stopped fighting and began to draw on the ground with both hands. But everyone was declared a failure. Only Myget Suk Castle's performance barely passed. But even so, there was still a long way to go before they could recombine the Takashi Hoshi skills. Lan Zi, if you can do it, then do it. You're the best at bragging. If you can do it, then try. I don't believe it. Wang Lan didn't say anything. He took the stones, squatted down, and started to draw with both hands. Not only did he use both hands, but he also used both eyes to look to one side. It was as if Wang Lan was split into two people, one on the left and one on the right. They could even fight. Su Xiangwen and the others gradually opened their mouths. Because Wang Lan wasn't drawing a square with his left hand and a circle with his right hand. He was sketching with both hands. Jiang Xinyu in his left hand and CSCC in his right hand. Two large head portraits were completed in a few minutes. The movements of both hands didn't stop, and there was no similarity at all. Myget Suk Castle couldn't help but gasp in amazement when they saw this scene in front of them. This was a master. CSCC didn't feel very surprised. She seemed to be able to draw a square with her left hand and a circle with her right hand. She was more concerned about the fact that Wang Lan was drawing Jiang Xinyu with his left hand and herself with his right hand. Could it be that, as she thought about it, her little face suddenly turned red? But for Wang Lan, it was simply that CSCC was beautiful, and it was easy to draw with Jiang Xinyu. Could he draw Jiang Xinyu with his left hand and Su Xiangwen with his right hand? Gong Feiyu wouldn't agree. Chapter 164. But Wang Lan, Myget Suk Castle suddenly said thoughtfully, have you realized that the reason why you were able to defeat Su Xiangwen so easily is because Su Xiangwen's Takashi Hoshi is completely restrained by you? Yes, that's true. Wang Lan would not refute this point. If not for the restraint, Su Xiangwen's strength would be very strong, especially against a magic-type Takashi Hoshi. As long as Su Xiangwen was within 5 meters of Su Xiangwen, he could basically crush his opponent. His speed was too fast, and one could only see a shadow. Who knew where he would attack from in the next moment? Then have you never thought that you were actually very easy to restrain? This question made Wang Lan's expression instantly become serious. How could Wang Lan not know that his Takashi Hoshi skills could be restrained? Not to mention anything else. If he encountered a water-type Takashi Hoshi, his flaming blade would basically be useless. It was not just the water type, the earth type, and the lightning type were all able to restrain Wang Lan to a certain extent. During the Takashi Hoshi tournament, Wang Lan had fought with water type, earth type, and even lightning type opponents. In the end, Wang Lan had won all of them. But at that time, Wang Lan was star-blazing, and his opponent was also star-blazing. On the other hand, Wang Lan's victory was a test of her basic skills. No one had a powerful Takashi Hoshi skill, and the power of a C-grade or D-grade Takashi Hoshi skill was already the limit. Takashi Hoshi's skill level was not as good as Wang Lan's, and his star power level could not crush Wang Lan's. This was the reason why Wang Lan was able to defeat all the opponents. But in the following provincial tournament, Wang Lan's opponents were the graduates of the entire province. Most of them were from Nebula, and these geniuses' Takashi Hoshi skills might be B-grade at the very beginning. A-grade skills, and even secret skills might be like cabbages. Not to mention anything else, just the crowd control Takashi Hoshi skills alone could completely restrain Wang Lan. It seems that you've also realized this problem. I can only give you a reminder. How to solve the problem of being restrained depends on you. Wu Cheng, Sinyu has told me more than once that you are the real #1 expert in our class. It's been half a year. I don't know how strong you are. Let me experience the fear of being restrained. Oh, fight seriously with me for once? Yes. No holding back. Yes. All right. Bright Moon Wuching stretched and twisted his neck. The others quickly dispersed, leaving a small circle in the center for Wang Lan and Maigetsu Castle. Let me formally introduce myself. My name is Maigetsu Castle, a direct descendant of the Mingyue family. The Mingyue family's ancestral illusion is unparalleled in the world. It has a restraining effect on all Takashi Hoshi. My attributes are water, earth, and fire. Be careful. I'll start. Begin. The moment Wang Lan finished speaking, the world in front of Wang Lan suddenly changed. Above the vast land, a bright moon hung in the sky. Illusion. In an instant, Wang Lan activated the flaming blade Takashi Hoshi skill. Before he could mobilize his star power, the world in front of him shattered, and Maigetsu Castle appeared in front of Wang Lan. At this moment, Wang Lan was sealed in a water column. The water column engulfed Wang Lan like a cement column. He couldn't even move a finger, let alone activate the nebulous sword dance. As for the flaming blade, it was even more impossible. Even smoke would be extinguished by the water. Maigetsu Castle pressed his hand on the water column. As long as he didn't stop using the Takashi Hoshi skill, Wang Lan could only be drowned alive. Maigetsu Castle gently released his hand, and the water column collapsed with a boom. After Wang Lan escaped, he gasped for air, and his eyes were filled with fear. When he was trapped in the water column, Wang Lan instantly thought of all the ways to escape, but there was no way. That kind of despair and helplessness made Wang Lan very uncomfortable. This is the water punishment technique. In fact, it can't be considered an offensive Takashi Hoshi skill. This Takashi Hoshi skill was originally developed to interrogate prisoners. As long as you can force my hand to move the water column, you'll be free. If you're an Earth-type Takashi Hoshi, you can stand on the ground and control the Takashi Hoshi skill to attack me. You can also use the Earth Elemental technique to escape underground. If you're a Lightning-type user, you can obtain oxygen through electrolysis, so you won't suffocate. You can also use lightning to attack me. If you're a Wind-type user, you can stir the water column to break my technique. If you're a Water-type user, it will be even more perfect. You can easily pass through the water column and walk out. The reason why I use this technique on you is because this technique is the lowest grade E-grade Water-type Takashi Hoshi skill, but it can restrain you. Once you're trapped, you can't do anything. This was a very extreme situation, but it just so happened to restrain Wang Lan. It was no wonder that after reaching the Galaxy Realm, a single attribute Takashi Hoshi cultivator would first cultivate the second attribute. This was because the probability of being restrained by a single attribute was too high. Those with dual attributes and more familiar attributes did not have to worry about this. After leaving the school, Wang Lan was a little depressed. Jiang Xinyu wanted to say something, but stopped herself several times. In the end, it was Gong Feiyu who patted Wang Lan's shoulder with an indifferent look. Wang Lan, don't be too sad. Single attribute Takashi Hoshi cultivators are the majority. Look at us brothers. Only Xinyu has the 3 attributes of wind, water, and ice. Lao Su has the yang attribute. I have the earth attribute, and Cici has the water attribute. If I encounter a lightning-type user, won't I also be defeated? I'm not thinking about this problem. Wang Lan raised his head and smiled. All right, Cici, why did Teacher Lu take you away? You were gone for half an hour, right? Yes, Teacher Lu taught me a Takashi Hoshi skill. It is a C-grade water cannon. He wants to accept you as his disciple. Jiang Xinyu asked in surprise. No. Yes, Cici shook her head. He said that he saw that I was so talented and that it was a pity that I didn't know the Takashi Hoshi skill. He hoped that I could learn it before graduation so that I could get into a better school in the college entrance exam. Lu Jie had no obligation to teach students the Takashi Hoshi skill. In high school, the most important thing was to build a good foundation. Theory classes, Takashi Hoshi knowledge points that one had to master, combat skills, and so on. Takashi Hoshi was an advanced skill that was usually taught in universities. For most students, if they could get into Seibu Gakuen, they would win. Obviously, Liu Jie had higher expectations for CSCC. This Takashi Hoshi skill was like sending charcoal in the snow. Then you have to work hard. Yes. All right. Do you want to practice together tomorrow? I might have something to do tomorrow. How about the day after tomorrow? Understood. That CSCC suddenly hesitated and stopped them. The day after tomorrow. I want to treat you guys to a meal. Is that okay? Why? Wang Lan asked curiously. There is no reason. I just want to thank you for taking care of me these days. Also, aren't you guys my friends? I learned a new Takashi Hoshi skill. Let's celebrate. Is that so? Okay. Su Xiangwen reluctantly agreed. It was not that he was unwilling, but he thought that CSCC's living conditions were not good. Moreover, they were all Takashi Hoshi. If they ate and drank, it would cost a lot. This amount of expenses was nothing to the four of them, but to CSCC, it was a lot. CSCC's pocket money, for a few years, might not even be enough for a meal. Every time the five of them gathered for a meal, the four of them would fight to pay. This time, CSCC invited them, so they could not even fight to pay. Okay, no problem, Cece, come my house. I will book the restaurant and you will pay. Jiang Xinyu hugged CSCC and smiled. Then it's settled? No one is allowed to stand me up. CSCC smiled happily. At the school gate, Wang Lan bid farewell to them. Wang Lan sank into the system again. Because of the problem of the attribute restriction today, Wang Lan was thinking about whether there was a way to learn the second attribute. Although it was said that the second attribute could only be cultivated after reaching the Galaxy Realm, he had already grasped the starting Galaxy Realm's Phoenix form and knew the starting Galaxy Realm's compound Star Martial technique. So why couldn't he learn the second attribute? Then, he stared at the mission attributes page. The bare fire on it was not pleasing to the eye. At this moment, Wang Lan suddenly recalled a detail that he had not paid attention to before. It was just that this attribute panel didn't appear from the start. When the system was first activated, there was no attribute section on the page. Then, after learning the Phoenix form, the attributes appeared. What did the image left behind by his mother say? Should he wait until he reached the Galaxy Realm and cultivated the fire attribute before learning this Star Martial skill that was specially tailored for him? Then, the system notified him that he could forcibly load it. The fire attribute appeared. Could it be that my attribute was not originally the fire attribute? Because I cultivated the Phoenix form, the fire attribute appeared? This was common sense, but any normal Takashi Hoshi would not make such a guess. But was Wang Lan normal? He wasn't the type to deceive himself with his imagination. At the beginning of the previous semester, when Maigitsuk Castle taught Wang Lan the nature change of his attributes. At that time, Wang Lan found it strange that he had skipped a step and successfully completed the nature change of his attributes. At that time, Wang Lan only thought that it was better to not have books than to believe in books. This step was not suitable for everyone. Now that he thought about it, if there was such a big omission, how could it not be pointed out and corrected for decades? It seemed that it was not the textbook that had a problem, but himself. If his guess was right, then Wang Lan might be rich. Could it be that he had the legendary full attributes? He would go to the Takashi Hoshi Hall tomorrow to ask. The next morning, Wang Lan woke up. When it was about time, he took the subway to the Takashi Hoshi Hall. When he arrived at the Takashi Hoshi Hall's Takashi Hoshi Skills Exchange, Wang Lan took out his tablet and looked for Takashi Hoshi skills. Sure enough, as he had guessed, the Takashi Hoshi Hall's Takashi Hoshi skills were all C or D grade. There were very few B-grade skills, let alone A-grade ones. However, there were many types of Takashi Hoshi skills. Ding dong. A message suddenly popped up on his phone. It was from Jiang Xinyu. Tomorrow is Xie Cici's birthday. I check her ID number. Seeing this message, Wang Lan instantly understood. I was wondering why Xie Cici suddenly wanted to treat me to a meal. It must not be just to celebrate learning the Takashi Hoshi skills. Wait, Takashi Hoshi skills? It was CSCC's birthday, so of course they would give her a present. However, CSCC was a strong-willed person, so she was unwilling to accept their good intentions. Just like the last time they went to the training field, Wang Lan did not want her 500,000 yuan, but CSCC insisted on giving it to him. In the end, she said that if you really treat me as a friend, don't pity me. From this point of view, although CSCC was gentle, she was tough on the inside and adhered to her own principles. This also caused Wang Lan and the others to not know where to start even if they wanted to help her. They were afraid that CSCC would misunderstand. However, tomorrow was her birthday. She could at least choose a Takashi Hoshi skill as her birthday present, right? The Takashi Hoshi skill did not need to be too expensive. If it was too expensive, she would definitely not accept it. However, it had to be practical. Wang Lan flipped to the water system section and quickly browsed from top to bottom. Mizukage substitute, C grade. Create a Mizukage substitute to block attacks? Seems good. Chapter 165. This Takashi Hoshi skill was a defensive Takashi Hoshi skill. It could be used when attacked. The user would move 1 meter to the left and right, and the substitute would appear in the original position. The basic attributes included Wood Shadow Substitute and Earth Shadow Substitute. However, Fire Lightning Wind was not substantial, so it could not be used as a substitute. On the other hand, Metal Shadow Substitute was too heavy, so it could be used faster than the user. The user was hacked to death, but the substitute had not appeared yet. This Takashi Hoshi skill was not a high-level skill, but its practicality was passable. The price was only 100,000 yuan. Wang Lan estimated that it should be within CSCC's ability to afford. He clicked on the purchase button. Soon, the waiter came over. Sir, please follow me. Swipe my card and scan the code. Swipe my card. All right, I have a question. When will you guys get the A-rank Takashi Hoshi skill? Usually, it won't be available, the waiter replied with a smile. How could you answer such a shameful question so frankly? Usually, it won't be available? So all the A-rank Takashi Hoshi skills were custom-made? Didn't you just buy the Crescent Moon arrow? Why are you asking about the A-rank Takashi Hoshi skill again? Gong Jian's voice sounded. Hello, manager. Work. Wang Lan turned around and looked at Gong Jian in confusion. Gong Jian also looked at Wang Lan curiously. Manager Gong, did you come because you saw me coming? Wang Lan probed. I've been in Sioux City for almost 3 years, and I've only given out 5 business cards. So, I remember very clearly who I gave them to. Hearing this answer, Wang Lan narrowed his eyes slightly. Why do you treat me differently? Don't you know? Gong Jian smiled faintly. Take your Takashi Hoshi skill and follow me to my office. Following Gong Jian, Wang Lan walked into Gong Jian's office inside the Takashi Hoshi skill exchange. Sit. What would you like to drink? Anything is fine. Gong Jian took out a can of Coke, opened it for Wang Lan, and handed it to Wang Lan. It seems that if I don't explain my identity, we won't be able to have a good chat. Gong Jian sat down on the office chair and crossed his legs. About 20 years ago, a special Takashi Hoshi squadron was formed. The squadron was called Vermilion Bird, and the company commander was your mother, Wang Ling. The Vermilion Bird Squadron was directly under the Ministry of National Defense, and under the orders of the Ministry of National Defense, they were active on the global battlefield. The squadron was entirely composed of Takashi Hoshi at the Star Ocean realm. Each one of them was an expert whose name could shake a region. The Vermilion Bird Company was ranked 7th in the world and 3rd in Jade State. In the past 20 years, the company had carried out more than 100 missions of S-Class and above. I was discharged from the Army 5 years ago due to injury. Gong Jian didn't say that he was from the Vermilion Bird Squadron, but he told Wang Lan that he was a soldier that his mother had once led. Wang Chu and he were also from the Vermilion Bird Company? Tis. Gong Jian snorted in disdain. They are only at the Galaxy realm. Okay? The word only was used well. Wang Lan was speechless. Tell me, why do you want to learn the Takashi Hoshi technique? I feel that the chances of my single attribute being countered are too high, so I want to learn another Takashi Hoshi technique to see if it can make up for the flaw in my attribute. Wait a minute. Gong Jian suddenly looked at Wang Lan with a dumbfounded expression. Did you get your logic wrong? You said that because you have a single attribute, it is easy to be countered. So you want to learn another Takashi Hoshi technique to make up for it? But is your single attribute due to the Takashi Hoshi technique? That is because you have a single attribute, okay? Gong Jian looked at Wang Lan with a suspicious look. Was this the legendary god of studying in Sioux City? Could it be that he was an idiot? I understand, but I feel that I may not have a pure fire attribute. I should have the ability to learn other Takashi Hoshi techniques. Huh? Gong Jian sneered. Every year, there are many self-righteous and conceited idiots who think that they are a one-in-a-million genius. They know that they do not have a certain attribute, but they still try to learn the Takashi Hoshi technique. In the end, they spend the money and fail to learn the Takashi Hoshi technique. They even waste a precious engraving skill. The prerequisite for learning the Takashi Hoshi technique is to have a certain attribute. You're already in your 3rd year of high school, so it is impossible for you not to know. Wang Lan could not help but frown. He did not want to explain too much to people he was not familiar with. I'm just asking if you have it or not. Money is not a problem. This is not a problem of money. Gong Jian looked at Wang Lan's stubborn eyes and suddenly paused. What attribute do you want for the Takashi Hoshi technique? Thunder. Thunder? Very good. For the time being, I agree with your arrogance. I will now teach you an E-rank Takashi Hoshi technique with a thunder attribute. As he spoke, he instantly stretched out his finger and pointed at Wang Lan's forehead. Wang Lan instinctively wanted to dodge, but before he could even do so, Gong Jian's finger had already pointed at his forehead. Discovered that you can learn the Takashi Hoshi technique. Do you want to learn it? Yes. As expected of an E-rank Takashi Hoshi technique, it did not even require skill points. After learning it, a skill icon appeared in the skill list. Electricity output? What a lousy name. While Wang Lan was complaining about the lousy name of the technique, his eyes quickly looked at the character page in the system. When he saw the thunder attribute appear in the attribute list, Wang Lan's face lit up with ecstasy. Seeing Wang Lan smile, Gong Jian's face showed surprise. Could it be that he could really learn it? Gong Jian had long memorized Wang Lan's information. Wang Lan's attribute test, 70% of his fire attribute, could not be wrong. If Wang Lan could not learn it, why was he smiling? After confirming his guess, Wang Lan felt relieved. If he could learn the thunder attribute technique, then the other attributes should not be a problem. If he could earn more skill points, he could gather all 7 basic attributes and create a bloodstain net. He said happily. Then, he looked at the newly learned Takashi Hoshi technique. Electricity output, producing electricity to transmit electricity to electrical products. Who came up with this idea? Was this a Takashi Hoshi technique? A mobile charger? How is it? Don't just smile. Tell me if you can learn it. I don't expect you to learn it. You just need to tell me if you can learn it. Who was so creative to come up with this Takashi Hoshi technique? You know that this Takashi Hoshi technique is a mobile charger. What's so difficult about that? Wang Lan's eyes swept across the computer in Gong Jian's office. He went to the socket, unplugged the monitor, and held it in his palm. In an instant, the monitor lit up. Seeing this, Gong Jian's eyebrows furrowed deeply. Can you really learn the thunder attribute Takashi Hoshi technique? Could it be that there was something wrong with the instrument when you applied for the Takashi Hoshi license? Probably not. Maybe my thunder attribute is hidden deep. Wang Lan was a little cautious and didn't tell him that she might be able to learn all the attributes. Impossible. The purpose of the attribute detection instrument is to help Takashi Hoshi detect hidden attributes. If hidden attributes cannot be detected, then there is no need for the instrument to exist. That's not the point, right? Yes, that's not the point. What did you just say? What Takashi Hoshi technique do you want? Thunder attribute A-grade Takashi Hoshi technique. You see, I'll get back to you when I have news. Aren't you a thunder attribute Takashi Hoshi? Just give it to me. I'll pay you. I'm a manager of the Takashi Hoshi Technology Exchange. All transactions follow the exchange's procedures. Are you so old-fashioned? I'm not old-fashioned. My first attribute is wind, and thunder is the second attribute that I cultivated in the galaxy realm. Therefore, I don't know any A-ranked thunder attribute star martial techniques. I have only mastered 2 S-ranked thunder attributes. Wang Lan suddenly took a step forward and grabbed Gong Jian's hand tightly. How much? I'll take all of it. You want it? You don't want it. S-grade Takashi Hoshi techniques. Don't even think about it before you reach the galaxy grade. What's the rank of Takashi Hoshi's Phoenix form? It's a super S-grade secret technique. I've even learned the Phoenix form. S-grade shouldn't be difficult, right? There are 3 forms of the Phoenix form. You haven't even mastered the first one. Where did you get the face to say that you've learned it? It's been half a year, and according to the information I've received, your Phoenix form hasn't improved at all. But I've at least mastered it, haven't I? Wang Lan felt that he couldn't be shameless when it came to Takashi Hoshi techniques. Therefore, he stared at Gong Jian with his cute eyes. Although Wang Lan also felt that acting cute was beneath his dignity, in the face of an S-grade Takashi Hoshi technique, dignity didn't seem to be very important. Gong Jian frowned and looked at Wang Lan, thinking about something. Wang Lan was only at Star Blazing, so it was impossible for him to meet the requirements to learn an S-grade Takashi Hoshi technique. However, Wang Lan had broken common sense many times. From the moment he awakened the Takashi Hoshi talent, he had been running wildly on the path of a monster, the kind that couldn't be pulled back. Soul Resonance hadn't been able to awaken his Takashi Hoshi talent. However, he hadn't expected that he would awaken it 2 years later. Was this something a human would do? After Wang Lan graduated from the 3rd year of junior high school, many people had been paying attention to Wang Lan. The news of his failed awakening had spread to the entire upper echelon of Di Lao's faction in almost a minute. Wang Lan had placed too many expectations on Di Lao's faction. However, he had failed his awakening and was destined to be an ordinary person for the rest of his life. However, just as everyone had given up, the iron tree bloomed. Although countless people were surprised, the world was never sure of miracles, right? Perhaps there had been a deviation in the initial development point, causing Wang Lan's later development to be completely deformed. His existence was simply a challenge to people's understanding of common sense. The first Takashi Hoshi technique this guy had learned was actually a super S-grade forbidden technique. Phoenix form? No one would believe it if he told them about it, but this guy actually did it. Others had started with C-grade and B-grade skills, but he had directly learned the highest grade Takashi Hoshi technique, completely ignoring whether he had met the learning requirements. However, on second thought, this was something that Yin Emperor had left for Wang Lan. With Yin Emperor's incredible ability, it was reasonable, right? What happened next? This guy's performance became more and more exaggerated. Not only was his luck good, but his talent was so monstrous that it made people doubt their lives. After becoming a Takashi Hoshi, he had broken through Star Blazing within 10 days? Was this even human? Now, he obviously didn't have a Thunder attribute talent, but he could learn the Thunder attribute Takashi Hoshi technique. He didn't care if others could accept it. Thinking about it this way, he might really be able to do it. For Gong Jian, he didn't feel the heartache of handing over the high-grade Takashi Hoshi technique. His Takashi Hoshi technique had been given to him by the country, not developed by him. It didn't matter who he taught it to. Furthermore, Wang Lan's identity was destined to be the flag of their faction. Of course, the higher the flag, the better. If the flag fell, and Di Lao fell in the future, Yin Emperor's faction would be disbanded. Thinking of this, Gong Jian nodded. All right, but don't force yourself if you can't learn it. With that, Gong Jian pointed at Wang Lan's forehead. Instantly, a strong spiritual imprint entered Wang Lan's mind. Chapter 166. Discovered learnable Takashi Hoshi skill. Host does not meet the learning requirements. Switching to forced loading mode. Forced loading failed. Lack of conditions to force loading. At the same time, a series of notifications sounded accompanied by a sharp pain in his head, as if he was being pricked by needles. Wang Lan's brows furrowed tightly. His body subconsciously retreated, escaping from Gong Jian's finger on his forehead. "How is it?" Gong Jian asked nervously. "I can't learn it." It was obviously a very depressing answer, but Gong Jian's face subconsciously showed a relieved expression, as if a rock had been dropped to the ground. If Wang Lan could really learn the S-rank Takashi Hoshi skill in Star Blazing, that would be too monstrous. Who would be able to accept that? It's fine if you can't learn it. You want the A-rank Lightning Takashi Hoshi skill, right? Okay, I'll report it. When there's a suitable one, I'll inform you. Thank you. Although he didn't get a suitable Takashi Hoshi skill, Wang Lan didn't feel like this trip was in vain. At the very least, the electrical output from the system proved Wang Lan's conjecture. He wasn't a fire elementalist. He was a full elementalist. If it was a normal person, they would be overjoyed to learn that he was a full elementalist Takashi Hoshi. What kind of full elementalist Takashi Hoshi skill? Of course, he wanted to learn one of each. However, Wang Lan didn't let his joy get to his head. The more attributes he could learn, the better. However, the Takashi Hoshi skill required skill points to level up. During the new year, skill points were abundant. Wang Lan almost thought that earning skill points was an easy thing to do. However, skill points weren't that expensive. A skill required 1,000 skill points to level up to Silver Level 9. If Wang Lan really learned the full elementalist skill, he would need at least 10,000 skill points. Were skill points really that easy to earn? When did earning a large amount of skill points not come with danger? And every time there was danger, didn't he need to use the Phoenix form? Internally, he had to use the Phoenix form to consume a large amount of skill points. Externally, he had to use the Takashi Hoshi skill to consume skill points. The accumulated skill points would never be able to keep up with the rate of consumption. Moreover, this was only the silver stage. What would he do when he broke through Nebula and leveled up his skills to gold? From gold rank 1 to gold rank 9, a total of 10,000 skill points. Other than the 3 Takashi Hoshi skills, there were 5 other basic skills. How many skill points would he need? Even if he was lucky enough to accumulate 70,000 to 80,000 skill points, what about the Galaxy Realm? Platinum level skill? Do you still want it? Therefore, Wang Lan's choice of the lightning attribute was not something that came out of the blue, but something that had been carefully considered. The lightning attribute was one of the top attributes in terms of attack power and speed. If not for the fact that it was countered by the wind attribute, the lightning attribute would not have been one of the basic attributes. As for the other attributes, other than the attributes that were countered, there were still 1 or 2 attributes that could not be defeated. However, the lightning attribute was an attribute that could be defeated with the exception of the wind attribute. Furthermore, the wind attribute was countered by Wang Lan's fire attribute. That was why Wang Lan could summon the heavenly lightning and earthly fire. After leaving the Takashi Hoshi clubhouse, Wang Lan did not drive today. He needed to walk to the bus stop. It was already past the rush hour, so there were very few pedestrians on the street. A cleaner wearing yellow vest was diligently sweeping the street. Bang! A crisp sound was suddenly heard. The cleaner, who was sweeping the street, stopped what he was doing and looked into the distance, puzzled. Wang Lan, who was originally walking slowly on the street, was slightly startled. He instantly turned into a gust of wind and disappeared. The moment Wang Lan's figure disappeared, a few more soft sounds were heard. Why does this sound like the sound of a gun? Old Lou, have you watched too much TV? How could there be the sound of a gun? Do you think it's a movie? I think it's a renovation site nearby. No, I used to be a soldier. This could really be a gunshot. Quick, let's call the police. Old Lou, don't mess around. This is Sioux City. How could there be a gun? Wang Lan's figure turned into a stream of light. With a speed of 100 meters 5 seconds, he instantly rushed in the direction of the gunshot. It was a nearby agricultural bank. When he saw that it was the agricultural bank, Wang Lan was almost certain that it was a gunshot. Although the plot of robbing a bank only happened in movies, in reality, it might not happen even once in a few decades. But it just happened in front of his eyes. When Wang Lan was 100 meters away from the bank. He activated his dynamic vision. In his right eye, the scene in the distance was magnified. Through the thick glass of the bank, Wang Lan clearly saw 3 people wearing black masks and classic bank robbery suits. But their purpose at the moment was not to rob money, but to kill people. Each of them had a short gun on their neck and a pistol in their hand. At the moment, they were wantonly shooting at the panicked people who were fleeing in all directions. The bank's door was locked from the inside. The pedestrians on the street were running with their phones in panic while calling the police. They were killing people without any scruples, without any concealment. This was not a bank robbery, this was a terrorist act. Seeing this scene clearly, Wang Lan did not dare to hesitate. He instantly raised his hand and shot out a flame arrow. The 3 robbers in the bank did not hide at all. They just stood in the middle and shot at the people without any scruples. Wang Lan shot 3 arrows in an instant. Like breaking through a water curtain, they shot into the bank. Each arrow accurately hit the forehead of a robber. The arrows dissipated, leaving behind flames. In an instant, the flames spread to the 3 robbers' bodies and burned them into torches. This change in scene caused the fleeing commoners to stop in their tracks. They were not fools. They did not know how to escape. First, because the door was locked from the inside. They had nowhere to run. Second, because the sudden change was too unbelievable. Even a movie would not dare to shoot like this. 1-inch punch, boom. With a loud noise, Wang Lan was already outside the door. He smashed the tempered glass door with 1 punch. Crash! The glass poured down like powder. Wang Lan's figure flashed into the bank. Everyone, don't panic. I'm Celestial Sword Special Service. I'm here to save you. Wang Lan took out his ID and shouted, "Is the person in charge of the bank still alive? Were the 3 of them the only criminals? Is there anyone else?" "Yes, yes." A beautiful woman in a bank uniform suddenly screamed from the backstage. "There are 3 more people. They stole the money and drove away. Car. Suddenly, the female bank employee's eyes widened in panic. She pointed at the black escort car that just drove onto the viaduct not far away. "This is the escort car that came to our bank to withdraw money. It's this one. Robbers rob a bank, and they use the bank's escort car?" Wang Lan could not believe it for a moment. Was there such a robber? They did not drive their own car to drive the bank's car. Did they not plan to leave, or what? But looking at the 3 robbers who had been burned into sticks, Wang Lan suddenly felt that they might not have come to rob the bank, but to kill people. Robbing a bank purely for the sake of killing people. Wang Lan did not hesitate. He quickly rushed out of the bank. He looked up at the bank's floor and returned to the bank again. "Take me to the top floor." Okay. Through the elevator, Wang Lan went directly to the top floor of the bank building. At this moment, the escort car was still running on the viaduct. This section of the viaduct was intertwined with several large turntables. Although they were delayed for 2 minutes, they did not go far. Wang Lan rushed to the rooftop and instantly jumped to the roof of the opposite building. Wang Lan was like a monkey shuttling through the forest. He quickly jumped between the floors and rushed to the other side. He went higher and higher along the turntable. In 5 seconds, the other side would leave the turntable and rush to the express highway. The speed limit on the express highway was 100 kilometers per hour. They could definitely drive to 200 kilometers per hour. In this case, Wang Lan could not catch up. Wang Lan had just landed on the roof of a building when he instantly rushed out again. He turned into a meteorite falling from the sky and landed on the viaduct. Beep, beep. Several cars sped past. Some were so scared that they quickly turned the steering wheel. On the 3rd floor of the express highway, a person suddenly appeared dozens of meters above the ground. Let's not ask why this person came up first. How the hell did he climb up alive? Wang Lan was unmoved. He coldly stared at the black escort car that was rushing over. Through the windshield, Wang Lan could clearly see 3 criminals wearing masks sitting in the car. That's right. Wang Lan turned slightly and raised his hand. A golden light flashed in his right eye. A crescent moon arrow was instantly shot at the car opposite him. Clang, the glass of the escort car was bulletproof, but it depended on what kind of bulletproof glass it was. It could block normal firearms, but it was useless against a crescent moon arrow that was as lethal as a sniper rifle. The glass instantly shattered. This arrow killed one of the people in the car. Normally, this would be enough to make the three robbers lose all hope and obediently stop the car by the side of the road. However, the robber driving the car did not seem to panic at all. He was as calm as an old dog and rushed toward Wang Lan even more quickly. Whoosh! The second arrow was shot. The left wheel of the escort car was directly shattered by Wang Lan's arrow. The car instantly lost its balance and slammed into the protective barrier on the side. Boom! The escort car rushed out of the protective barrier and spun beautifully in the air. Boom! Another loud noise was heard, and the escort vehicle fell upside down onto the opposite lane, sliding for dozens of meters. The cars in the distance all stopped at the same time. Some of them did not even care if they were driving in the opposite lane. They immediately turned their cars around and ran for their lives. Wang Lan's figure flashed and came to the side of the escort car that had flipped over. He ignited the flaming blade and cut open the car door. The three robbers in the car were already unconscious with their heads tilted to the side. One of them was naturally dead. He was shot in the chest by Wang Lan and couldn't be more dead. As for the other two, Wang Lan checked the aorta in their necks and found that they were also dead. Wang Lan opened the trunk door. There were 5 or 6 big bags in the trunk. When he opened the zipper, he found that all of them were stacks of cash. However, it was not the kind of new money with serial numbers. It was old money that had been used. Wang Lan frowned and fell into deep thought. Were these 6 robbers really here to rob money? Although the process of their actions was robbery, no matter how one looked at it, they were courting death. Just ask the 3 robbers who wantonly shot and killed people in the bank. Even if Wang Lan was not there, they would have been killed when the police arrived. As for these 3 robbers, did they think that they were driving a special escort car everywhere? Did they think that the road surveillance system of Jade State was just for decoration? Wang Lan was willing to bet that in less than 20 minutes, the police would set up an inescapable net and they would not be able to escape. Woo woo woo. As soon as Wang Lan made his guess, he heard the shrill sound of a police siren. Chapter 167. Soon, more than 10 police cars drove up from both sides of the highway. There was a commotion as 7 or 8 guards rushed into the parking lot and pointed their guns at Wang Lan. Don't move. Raise your hands, cover your head, and squat down. Wang Lan, a familiar voice sounded. Put down your guns. We're on the same side. Wang Lan turned around. Hu Qing's skinny face had gained some weight after not seeing him for a year. Hu Qing, you're a police officer now? Wang Lan greeted him with a smile. Last time, you contributed a lot and participated in the Heavenly Sword Bureau's operation. Plus, the superintendent has been training his own Takashi Hoshi guards. So, I was promoted, and so was my position. I'm now the leader of the Key Case Investigation Unit. I just received a report that there were robbers blatantly robbing a bank. So, I immediately dispatched the police. When I arrived at the bank, I heard that there were Takashi Hoshi guards chasing after the 3 robbers, so I quickly split into 2 to block them. I didn't expect it to be you. Why are you here? I just came out of the Takashi Hoshi Club and heard the gunshots, so I came to take a look. The 2 of them walked to the side of the highway and chatted. Hu Qing was now a high-ranking guard, so collecting evidence was naturally done by his subordinates. Sorry, I was a little harsh, Wang Lan said apologetically. Hu Qing lit a cigarette for himself and slowly blew out a smoke ring. They killed 17 people in the bank. These bastards don't need to be judged. Just send them to hell. 6 maniacs flower snakes? Suddenly, one of the guards exclaimed. What's 6 maniacs flower snakes? Xiaozhong, you know them? Yes, they're the 6 maniacs flower snakes from the red light district. They're Brother Hay's thugs. I used to be in the economic management department, and the department has been watching Brother Hay since half a year ago, so I know these guys. Triad? Hu Qing asked curiously. Last time, when the Crow Gang was wiped out, why didn't they take care of Brother Hay? That's not the same. Does the underworld also have factions? Furthermore, Brother Hay wasn't purely black. He was in the gray area. It mainly operates KTV bars and so on. Of course, he also had a group of underlings under him. However, they didn't collect protection fees, nor did they bully people everywhere. They just maintained the security of the KTV bars or caused trouble for their competitors. The Department of Economics and Management had received many complaints, saying that Brother Hay had monopolized the red light district. If one wanted to do business in the red light district, he had to give his approval. Otherwise, there would be trouble. The Department of Economics and Management had their eyes on Brother Hay. They would arrest him when they had sufficient evidence. This Brother Hay was very slippery and kept a low profile. How could the 6 wildflower snakes rob a bank with rifles? Moreover, it was only 5 million yuan? 5 million for 6 lives? I don't know how his brain works. Wang Lan was also puzzled at this moment. He killed the robbers on the spot and saved dozens of people in the bank. No matter what, there should be a system reward, right? But until now, there was no notification. Entering the system to take a look, sure enough, the quest in progress popped up. It seemed that this mission was not over yet. He still had to follow up on it. Call the crane and send the escort car back. Send all the evidence to the key case investigation unit. Hu Qing, Lanzi, look at how busy I was. I didn't even have time to take care of you. It's all thanks to you this time. Don't worry, I'll report this to the Heavenly Sword Bureau for you. That's not important. Can I follow up on this case? Why not? You're from the Celestial Sword Special Service. Let's work together and take down Brother Hay today. Okay, he dared to openly carry a gun, and he even dared to openly rob a bank. Take it down tonight. Let's go get in my car. We'll go back to the police station first. Following Hu Qing to the police station, Wang Lan sat down for a while in Hu Qing's office. There was only a beautiful guard sister in the office, just like the beautiful guards in the movies. Hu Qing let Wang Lan sit for a while and left with his men. Only Wang Lan was left flipping through the book in front of him in boredom. Although the identity of the robber had been confirmed, taking action was not something that could be done on a whim. The operation had to be reported first, and only after it was approved could the net be pulled. Also, the intelligence and layout had to be followed. Therefore, Wang Lan had to wait in the police station. As he was flipping through the book on Hu Qing's desk, he vaguely felt a pair of eyes peeking at him. There are only 2 people in the office. Wang Lan naturally thought to himself, my charm really catches people wherever I go. Little brother, have a Coke. The other party suddenly got up and took out a can of Coke from the fridge and brought it to Wang Lan. Thank you. Wang Lan was young, so he should show his obedient side in front of the beautiful sister. What's your name? Wang Lan. Wang Lan. What's your relationship with Captain Hu? Sister, are you checking my account? No, I'm just curious. What's your relationship with Captain Hu? I think he treats you very well. No one dares to touch Captain Hu's desk, but he told you to do whatever you want? Would you believe me if I said I'm his younger brother? Of course. Why wouldn't I believe you? All right, let me ask you a question. What is it? Captain Hu? Is he married? The eyes of the young lady opposite him flashed like stars, as cute as the stars in a baby's eyes. Okay. Forgive me for being narcissistic. Wang Lan curiously looked at the young lady in front of him. She looked sweet, just like those celebrities in beverage commercials. As for her makeup, although she put on makeup, it wasn't exaggerated. Hurry up and tell me, how can I tell you? I can't talk about my brother behind his back. What's there to not tell others? I'm not asking for something private like his phone number. There's nothing that can't be said. Then why don't you ask him yourself? It's embarrassing for a girl like me to ask this question. I heard from my colleagues that Captain Hu sometimes picks up a little girl after work. I heard that it's his daughter, but we've never heard him mention his wife, and no one has seen her. Aren't you curious? Curious? Yes, curious. Curious my ass. When you said this, you were so nervous that you almost tore the corner of your clothes. Is this curiosity? However, Wang Lan didn't expose her. Instead, he smiled mischievously. Slowly, he stretched out his finger and made a gesture. I'm a guard. You dare to knock on the guard's bamboo pole? Aren't you afraid that I'll arrest you? What do you mean by extortion? This is called buying information. You want to buy information without spending money? Okay, since that's the case, then let's have a proper transaction. The beautiful guard turned around and took out a bag. Then, she opened it and took out a handful of money. Without counting, she stuffed it into Wang Lan's hand. This momentum stunned Wang Lan. He originally thought that it was 100 yuan, but he didn't expect the beauty to give him at least 2,000 yuan. Wang Lan casually took out 100 yuan. Your previous question was worth 100 yuan. I'm not a greedy person. My brother isn't married yet. Then who's the little girl he picked up? Wang Lan took out another one. Her sister, Hu Fei, captain who is already 30 years old. Why isn't he married yet? Does he have a girlfriend? He used to be in the army. Last year, he retired for special reasons. In the army, it's very troublesome to fall in love. Moreover, my brother looks like a monkey. Not many girls like him. Nonsense. Captain who isn't skinny now. Okay, and what does he look like a monkey? That's his spirit. The young lady puffed up her cheeks and pouted coquettishly. How did this girl graduate from the police academy? With this IQ, she sold herself in 3 minutes, right? Another problem is that he doesn't have a girlfriend yet. If you want to take him down, do it early. Who wants to take him down? The beautiful lady shyly snatched the remaining money on the table. All right, since you let me earn 400 yuan, I'll give you an answer for free. Answer? I haven't even asked. What answer? It's how to take down Hu Qing as soon as possible. Who likes him? You don't want to? Then forget it. Hurry up and tell me. Who only tells you half the story? I thought you didn't want to know. Hurry up and tell me. Find an opportunity to get to know Hu Qing's sister, Hu Fei. Then, build a good relationship with Hu Fei first. It's much easier to make Hu Fei like you than to make Hu Qing like that blockhead. As long as Hu Fei calls you sister-in-law, Hu Qing won't be able to escape from your grasp. Roundabout tactics? This isn't a roundabout tactic. It's the most direct one. This is called attacking the enemy's weakness. Little brother, you look young, but you're very experienced. How many times have you succeeded? No, this is a tactic. Find the enemy's weakness and attack it. But it's also suitable for pursuing love. First, take care of the person he cares about the most. That's the same as taking care of him. Hurry up. The Key Case Investigation Unit and the Economics and Management Unit are fighting. Hurry up and take a look. At this moment, there was a commotion outside the door. Wang Lan hesitated for a moment, then hurriedly stood up and followed the guard outside. Why should I give you the Economics and Management Unit's case? Who do you think you are? You've been a superintendent for less than a year, and you've already learned how to steal cases? I don't have the information you want. Get out of here. The Flowery Snake 6 robbed a bank with a gun, causing 17 deaths. This case is already a major criminal case. In theory, it should be handed over to the Key Case Investigation Unit. What theory? The case belongs to whoever takes care of it. Is this the theory? You're just a rookie who's been a superintendent for less than a year. How can you teach me how to handle a case? I've been a superintendent for 15 years. It's not your turn to teach me. Wang Lan squeezed into the crowd. A middle-aged senior superintendent with a fierce-looking face slammed the table and roared with a red face. They have guns now. They're not some hooligans who are operating illegally. They have guns? I don't have any. Inspector Chun, do you want our brothers to fight with the hooligans? Don't you care about the possible casualties among our brothers? I'm a Takashi Hoshi. I'll have more confidence if I go. Takashi Hoshi? So what if you're a Takashi Hoshi? Takashi Hoshi can do whatever he wants? Takashi Hoshi can steal my case? What's all the noise about? A loud roar sounded. A senior superintendent in black with snow-white hair walked in from the door. Chief, what's all the noise about? Is this appropriate? Chief, you be the judge. Hu Qing has only been a superintendent for a few days. He hasn't even warmed up his position as the leader of the Key Case Investigation Unit, and he's already learning how to steal cases and take credit. Is this appropriate? He's a Takashi Hoshi, so he's awesome. Why did a Takashi Hoshi come to our superintendent's office? If he's so capable, he should join the army and go on an expedition. What's the point of being a Takashi Hoshi when he's back in the city? If he's a deserter, he should tuck his tail between his legs. What's there to be proud of? Hu Qing's face turned green when he heard this. Chunbing, shut up. Hu Qing has already reported this case to me. I allowed it. Chief, aren't you being too biased? You're chilling the hearts of the other brothers. Just because he's a Takashi Hoshi, you're protecting him like this? If a Takashi Hoshi is so awesome, then fine, I'll resign. I won't work here anymore. Chunbing, this Officer Chun is so domineering. Hu Qing is talking about the facts with you, but you're being unreasonable. Now that you can't be unreasonable, you're acting shamelessly again? You should eat what you're capable of. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a need for the Key Case Investigation Unit or the Economics Department. Who the F***CK are you? Where did this kid come from? How old are you? Are you still in school? What school are you in? How did you get in? What are your parents' names? Chapter 168. Wang Lan couldn't say that Chen Bing was a bad person, but he was definitely an annoying person. He was a person who would vent his anger on anyone, who had a bad temper and didn't care about other people's feelings. Frankly speaking, Wang Lan had never been yelled at like that before. Not a single person. If it were any other senior high school student, his yelling would have been effective, but with Wang Lan's temper, how could he stand it? You're right. Takashi Hoshi isn't that great, and they can't just steal your case. But I can. As he spoke, he took out the Heavenly Sword Bureau's ID. I suspect that Takashi Hoshi is behind the robbers. This case is under the Heavenly Sword Bureau's jurisdiction. You're asking me how I got here? I'll tell you now. I'm requesting the Sioux City Police Superintendent to cooperate with the Heavenly Sword Bureau. The Police Superintendent's Key Case Investigation Unit is not the Economics and Management Department. Are you satisfied with this answer? You. Chun Bing glared at Wang Lan. Heavenly Sword Bureau. Heavenly Sword Bureau. Don't even think about stealing my case. Chief Wang, is Officer Chen speaking on behalf of the police superintendent? Wang Lan smiled and looked at Chief Wang, whose face had already darkened. Chunbing, please watch your words. The Heavenly Sword Bureau has the right to request the cooperation of the local police superintendent. This case will be handed over to Hu Qing and the Heavenly Sword Bureau. They've worked together more than once. Chief Wang, where am I supposed to put my face if you do this? How am I supposed to explain this to my brothers? If you insist on doing this, I'll resign. All right, submit your resignation before noon. Why are you still gathered here? Disperse. Xiaolu, organize the information that Hu Qing asked for and hand it over to Team Leader Hu. Yes. The crowd dispersed. The Economics and Management Department's guards quickly rummaged through the documents. On the other hand, Chun Bing, who had been overbearing earlier, had a dumbfounded expression. His face was filled with disbelief. For this person, Wang Lan didn't hate him anymore. Instead, he felt that he was pitiful and sad. He didn't even realize why, from the beginning to the end, he was arguing loudly by himself, and not a single one of his brothers spoke up for him. Perhaps even in the Department of Economics and Management, he was not popular. Hu Qing and a group of brothers from the Key Case Investigation Unit brought Brother Hay's information back to the Key Case Investigation Unit. The information collected by the Key Case Investigation Unit for half a year was indeed comprehensive, saving Hu Qing a lot of trouble. Red Light Street was a famous street in Sioux City during the Dynasty era and the War of Resistance against Japan. That was why there was a phrase, seeking flowers and asking willows. After the end of the war, Jade State made great efforts to reform its internal structure. Although no one dared to open a Phoenix brothel openly, it was still a famous flower hunting ground in Sioux City. The red light district, Willow Lane. The main street was called Flower Street. The street was 5 meters wide. On both sides of the street, there were all kinds of necessities. Of course, it was different from an ordinary street. The KTV, bars, saunas, and bathrooms were almost next to each other, from one end of the street to the other. Willow Lane didn't refer to an alley, but to a narrow alley that extended from both sides of the red light district like willow branches. The alley was long and narrow, and the interior was intricate and complicated. This Willow Lane seemed to be a treasure area that attracted people to explore. Many experienced people would ignore the eye-catching places on both sides of the red light district and specifically go to the Willow Lane to explore. The red light district belonged to the ancient city, and the alleys were as intricate as a maze, which also made it difficult to catch the ghosts and snakes that lived here. Once they encountered a situation, they would hide in the alleys. No one knew where they were hiding. If it wasn't for the detailed information collected by the Department of Economics and Management, Hu Qing wouldn't have been able to find Brother He, let alone capture him. Brother He had 27 entertainment venues, but this was only on the surface. In fact, Brother He controlled all the hidden Phoenix pavilions in the red light district. This oldest and most profitable industry had brought Brother He endless wealth. Brother He didn't have a fixed residence, and except for a few of his confidants, no one knew where he would stay at night. Moreover, Brother He had many lovers, and the flower brothel's famous young ladies were basically his lovers. Brother He wasn't possessive, and not only did he not restrict his lovers from doing what they wanted, he even encouraged them to start their own businesses. If it wasn't for one of Brother He's confidants being an informant, Hu Qing wouldn't have been able to determine Brother He's whereabouts. The night had just started to get hazy, and Hu Qing led a group of people to set up a downstairs in the alley. No one would have thought that this dilapidated building, which looked like a dilapidated house, was the place where Brother He was staying. Are all units in position? In position. In position. Good, let's begin. As soon as the voice fell, Hu Qing led Wang Lan out of the hidden flower bed and went straight to the entrance of the building. Brother He's base was on the 3rd floor, and the old-fashioned ladder was still made of wood. When they rushed to the 3rd floor, the rest of the brothers had just reached the ground floor. Bang! Hu Qing kicked the door open and rushed into the house in a flash. The house was filled with smoke, and 4 people were playing cards in the living room. On the sofa, there were several women in disheveled clothes. On the coffee table in front of the sofa, there were some ice skating tools. In sharp contrast to the dilapidated exterior, the interior decoration was no worse than a high-end neighborhood. Marble floor, solid wood floor. The walls were white, and the ceiling was decorated with chandeliers. Wang Lan instantly forgot the dilapidated appearance of the building. Huh? Is this really an unexpected gain? Fuck you, take this guy. Don't move, guards. Hu Qing instantly pulled out his gun and pointed it at the 4 people who jumped up from the table. The deterrence of a gun to an ordinary person is far greater than a Takashi Hoshi. At least a Takashi Hoshi may not die, but a gun at such a close range will certainly kill them. I asked, what are you doing? Playing cards is also illegal. What's on the table? You think I don't know? Where's Brother He? Hu Qing coldly snorted. What Brother He? I don't know. You don't know? Don't know what you're talking about. Ka! With a light sound, Wang Lan's ears instantly twitched, and his figure flashed into the next room. The back window of the room was already open, and the curtains were slightly dancing in the wind. Wang Lan was about to go to the window to check, when suddenly he heard a heartbeat. Oh, you want to play this trick with me? Wang Lan looked at the closed wardrobe and sneered. Next time you want to play this trick, your heart won't beat so fast. Come out, don't let me drag you out. With that, Wang Lan's flame blade ignited. Perhaps Wang Lan's identity as a Takashi Hoshi made the people in the wardrobe give up. The wardrobe slowly opened, and a burly bald man stepped out of the wardrobe. Sir, you are Brother He? Yes. At this time, Hu Qing also entered the room and pointed his gun at Brother He. What are your hands doing? Raise them. In an instant, Brother He pulled out a pistol from behind his back. Bang! With a gunshot sound, the pistol fell to the ground with a clang. Brother He covered his arm and suddenly became dispirited. Playing with a gun in front of me, when I was the champion of speed shooting, you didn't even touch a gun. This shot completely destroyed Brother He's thoughts of resistance. At this moment, the only resentment in his heart was how the guard knew where he was staying. There were only a few people who knew about this place. Suddenly, Wang Lan's ears slightly twitched. There was actually a light sound outside the window. In an instant, Hu Qing raised his hand and shot at the wall next to the window. The old-fashioned wall was not completely reinforced with concrete and mud. This shot instantly penetrated the wall. In an instant, a figure flashed past the window in front of Wang Lan. Takashi Hoshi. Wang Lan's face changed. He did not expect that there was a Takashi Hoshi in Brother Hay's room. Wang Lan did not hesitate and instantly rushed out of the window. Jumping down from the third floor with the physique of a Takashi Hoshi, it was like jumping off the ground. Wang Lan also rushed out of the window. In the dark night, he could only see a black shadow flashing in front of his eyes. In an instant, the black shadow shot out a rope from its arm, connecting it to the roof of the opposite building. Grabbing the rope, it quickly rushed to the roof of the opposite building. F***CK. Do you think you're Spider-Man? Wang Lan did not even think. With a chi sound, a crescent moon arrow shot out, shooting the rope in the air. The other party had no place to borrow the force, and could only fall from the air again. Tumbling in the air, Wang Lan quickly grabbed a branch outside the building to slow down. After several tumbles, Wang Lan twisted his waist and steadily landed on his feet. The other party was not so lucky. Without slowing down, he directly fell into the grass downstairs and rolled several times before stopping. Wang Lan instantly closed in. The other party also hurriedly stood up and glanced at the black suitcase not far away. I did not expect that a small Sioux City police superintendent would have two Takashi Hoshi. I also did not expect to catch a Takashi Hoshi by catching a chicken head. I advise you not to resist. I do not know how to control my strength. You are young, but you talk big. The other party coldly shouted and instantly rushed towards Wang Lan. As for strength, he was only at the peak of star blazing. Opening his mouth, a gust of wind blasted towards Wang Lan. The wind was mixed with numerous wind blades. The flame saber rose and turned into a curtain of saber light. The wind blades in front of him instantly melted when they met the flames. Wang Lan rushed forward, swinging his two sabers, like a stream of light brushing past the other party. Ah! The other party screamed, blood suddenly spurting out from the joints of his limbs, and then he fell to the ground and wailed in pain. Originally, he did not want to run, lying in ambush outside the window, waiting for Wang Lan to stick his head out to investigate. He could directly cut off Wang Lan's head with a wind blade, but he did not expect Wang Lan to be so vigilant. And Wang Lan also found Brother Hay hiding in the closet. He had no choice but to make some noise in an attempt to lure Wang Lan out. Who knew that Hu Qing would raise his hand and fire a shot? The plan to lure the snake out of its hole did not work. He could only run. Originally, with a crossbow arrow and steel rope, it should not be too difficult to escape. But how did he meet a guy who could attack from a distance? Wasn't this shooting Takashi Hoshi very rare? How did he meet him so coincidentally? Being stopped, he could only fight with his back to the river. But the fire element completely restrained the wind element. In one move, he was directly defeated. Here, quick, quick! The brothers from the Key Case Investigation Unit rushed over and took down the screaming Takashi Hoshi on the ground with 4 or 5 guns. At this moment, the mysterious Takashi Hoshi's face was filled with grief and anger. In my current state, do you still think I can fight back? Lanzi, how are you? Are you okay? I'm fine, but this guy is a Takashi Hoshi. I'm afraid the Heavenly Sword Bureau will really have to take over. Also, carefully open his box and see what's inside. Hu Qing personally opened the box carefully. There were packets of flour lying inside, a total of 30 kilograms. Takashi Hoshi, all of you do this kind of work? How shameless. I'll definitely shoot you. Chapter 169. Assist the superintendent in destroying the underworld organization. Reward: 5,000 EXP, 300 SP. The notification sounded in his mind. Wang Lan smiled. 300 SP, that's not bad. I really don't know. As soon as he went back to find Hu Qing, he heard an extremely aggrieved complaint from the car. Ah, yes, those 6 bastards robbing the bank really has nothing to do with me. My flower brothel makes more than 5 million a month. Why would they rob a bank? I haven't seen them since yesterday. Also, they've grown up and don't listen to me anymore. Since Crow's death, they've become arrogant and want to take over Crow's territory. This has nothing to do with me. Whether it has anything to do with you or not, you can explain it to the superintendent. Now your business is not just about robbing a bank. Black Bro's face was dejected. He silently lowered his head. Lon Z is here. What about that Takashi Hoshi? Bring him back to the superintendent first, then call the Heavenly Sword Bureau to come and get him. Takashi Hoshi is involved in drug trafficking. This is not a small matter. I feel ashamed for him. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There are all kinds of birds in the forest. There will always be scum among Takashi Hoshi. In the back seat, a resentful voice sounded. Shut up. If you have something to say, say it to the superintendent. You have no right to speak now. I just want to say, Black Bro's aggrieved face was very funny. Yes, if I say this is my first time doing this, and I haven't done it yet. Would you believe me? You should ask the people if they believe you. But I really... that guy called Stone came to me. He said Sioux City's business is still a blank. He came from Jean City and wanted to open a market there. He didn't want me to pay for it, so I helped him sell it. He's 70%, I'm 30%. How can I resist the temptation of a no-cost business? He took a fancy to my KTV and bar. I took a fancy to his strength. We just hit it off, and you came. I can guarantee this with my head. Is your head still yours? You're using it as a guarantee? Wang Lan smiled coldly at the rearview mirror. Brother Hayes shut up. As soon as he arrived at the superintendent's office, the people from the Heavenly Sword Bureau also arrived. It was Zhang Yechio and her sister. They were also familiar with Wang Lan. It's you two? Why didn't Brother Su come? Can't we do it? Zhang Xiaoxue asked indifferently. Of course. Such a small matter did not require the 2 captains in red to come personally. The Bureau placed too much importance on this matter. I should be the one to personally deliver it. Wang Lan immediately surrendered. Zhang Xiaoxue and Zhang Yechio were twins, but they were twins who looked the least alike in the world. The 2 of them had the same face, but they gave everyone 2 completely different looks. Don't mention Su Shurya. That guy's so proud of himself after being promoted to captain. Every day, he would drag his brothers to train and practice. Since Xiao Shui and I had nothing to do, they sent us out. Let's go take a look at that trash. Wang Lan brought Zhang Yechio and Zhang Yechio to the detention room. Although Stone's wound had been stitched up, his limbs were basically crippled. Wang Lan was ruthless this time. Not only did he cut his limbs, but he also burned his meridians. Unless there was a medical Takashi Hoshi to treat him, he would definitely be crippled. As for treating him, that was impossible. He was already being merciful by not shooting such trash on the spot. When the door of the interrogation room opened, Stone raised his head slightly. When he saw Zhang Yechio and Zhang Yechio in military uniform, his pupils constricted, and there was a flash of fear in his eyes. It seems that you recognize the clothes I'm wearing. That's easy. What's your name? Yi Feng. You're quite arrogant, aren't you? Yunya Feng, right? Zhang Yechio moved her finger gently, and a ripple spread from where Stone was. Suddenly, there was a creaking sound, and the chair under Yi Feng's buttocks slowly became deformed and collapsed. This move caused Wang Lan to be shocked. Zhang Yechio were only 20 years old. He was 4 years older than Wang Lan, but when he displayed this move, he gave Wang Lan an unfathomable feeling. It was the law of gravity of the Earth system. Wang Lan had seen Hu Qin use it before. However, when Hu Qin used it, it was extremely powerful. On the other hand, Zhang Yechio could precisely control the gravity around Yi Feng with just a move of her finger. Wang Lan, who was standing next to Zhang Yechio, did not feel anything unusual at all. The gravity gradually increased, and Yi Feng's stitched wound burst open again. Due to the strong gravity, even the air was slightly distorted. I'm really called Yi Feng. Still stubborn? Sister, he said his name is Yi Feng, not the celebrity Nye Feng. Oh! Zhang Yeqiu raised her finger, and the gravity disappeared. Where are you from? Where's your Takashi Hoshi license? It's in my pocket. Zhang Yeqiu hooked her finger, and a Takashi Hoshi license appeared in her hand. She took out her phone and scanned the QR code. Beep! You're really called Yi Phone. You said your parents gave you such a good name. So you're here to sell drugs? Linheim Military Region? 2 years ago, you were fired because you contradicted your superiors. What happened after that? Tell me what you did. Yi Phone lay on the ground, gasping for breath. When he heard Zhang Yeqiu's question, his breathing became heavier. You're not lucky to be in our hands, are you? You're gasping for breath now. Believe it or not, I'll kill you later. Zhang Yeqiu raised her finger again. I'll tell you everything. Yi Phone was terrified and said hurriedly. Not long after I was fired, the former squad leader came to me. He said that we Takashi Hoshi have made such great contributions to mankind, so why should we live like dogs? The army has discipline, and we accept it. But when we go to open up a wasteland, we eat pigs' food, sleep in caves, and worry about whether we can wake up tomorrow. We're honor, faith, and responsibility. For honor, faith, and responsibility. In the end, we're living worse than animals, worse than the neighbor's dog. This world is a world of money, not a world of Takashi Hoshi. So what if we give up the identity of Takashi Hoshi? As long as we have money, isn't it good to live comfortably? And you believed him? I followed him. Are you an idiot? Zhang Yeqiu looked at Yi Phone with disgust. Your information says that your parents are healthy, and you have a younger brother and younger sister. They're honored because of you. You're a Takashi Hoshi, so your parents can enjoy free medical care and pension every month. If you have a wife, your wife can let the state arrange a job for her. Your children don't need to pay a penny to go to school, and all the expenses of your children from birth to adulthood will be reimbursed by the state. Isn't that enough? All the worries that the country could solve for the Star Warriors had been solved. What else was there to be dissatisfied about? The state arranged everything for the wasteland reclaimers in the hope that you can guard the alternate space for the state. What else are you dissatisfied with? Living worse than a dog? That dog is sick and hungry. Who will feed it? Living worse than an ordinary person? How much does it cost for an ordinary person to buy a house in Sioux City? And how much does a wasteland reclaimer earn? You don't know how to be grateful when you get benefits, and you complain when you fulfill your obligations. Sister, why are you talking nonsense with this kind of trash? Just kill him. This kind of trash doesn't deserve to live. Tell me, who's your squad leader, and who's behind you? Wang Lan crossed his arms and looked at the Takashi Hoshi in front of him playfully. He was probably the most spineless Takashi Hoshi Wang Lan had ever seen. Interrogating him didn't take any effort at all, and he spilled everything like beans. There were 7 people in his gang, and all of them were Takashi Hoshi who had been expelled from the army. These people had a nickname in the army, Rust. They couldn't be refined into steel, and staying in the army would only corrode other people's trash. The other 3 went to Sioux City, Chong City, and Tong City. Of the remaining 3, 2 stayed at the headquarters in Jean City, and 1 was in charge of importing drugs in Nankoan. In any case, they were a group of scum who didn't reflect on themselves and only knew how to resent society. On a whim, they decided to enter this industry full of loopholes, where the slightest mistake would cause them to be kicked out. Wang Lan dared to say that their business hadn't even opened yet, and even if it did, it would be uprooted within a year. Zhang Yeqiu finished interrogating him and drove him back to the Heavenly Sword Bureau. As for Brother He, that was the key case investigation unit's problem. Zhang Yeqiu's progress was fast, but Brother He was stuck. No matter how Hu Qing interrogated him, Brother He refused to admit that he had anything to do with the 6 ruthless flowery snakes robbing the bank. He said that he didn't know anything. Zhao Lao He, don't be so shameless. We have ways to make you suffer so much that you wish you were dead. Don't force me to do it. Yes, I'm telling the truth. Is it worth it? I can't control these 6 guys anymore. Moreover, which one of them doesn't earn a few million a year? Is it worth it? Robbing a bank with a submachine gun and shooting a movie? Hu Qing frowned. He was also suspicious. What Zhao Laohe said made sense. This bank robbery seemed like a prank from the beginning to the end. Robbing money didn't seem to be the goal. But they did rob a few million and killed more than 10 people. Wang Lan sent Zhang Yeqiu and Brother He away and came back to look for Hu Qing. He happened to hear this conversation. Is the autopsy report out yet? Not yet. Why? Now that he said that, I suddenly feel that it's a little strange. I shot an arrow and killed one of the people in the car. Logically speaking, the driver should have panicked a little, but he was very calm. He stepped on the accelerator and crashed into me. Then I shot the car's wheels and it overturned. But the strange thing is that the two people in the car are both dead. The escort car seems to have anti-seismic functions, right? Reporting, the autopsy report is out. The 6 ruthless flowery snakes died more than 24 hours ago. Are you kidding me? Hu Qing exploded on the spot. They were robbing a bank and killing people 12 hours ago. Now you're telling me that they died more than 24 hours ago? Are the bank robbers dead? Wang Lan looked up at the female forensic doctor. Are you sure it's more than 24 hours ago? Yes. Hu Qing, transfer this case to the Heavenly Sword Bureau. I'm sure there's something wrong. Chapter 170. Director Liu, are you looking for me? On Sunday morning, Wang Qianfeng was on duty and was called to the office by Liu Zhao. In the new year, the intelligence department had achieved many achievements and honors, but these honors had become a thing of the past. Wang Qianfeng knew his position and attitude very well. The calmer it was, the more he couldn't let his guard down. A phone, this is the case sent by the Sioux City Security Division. See if there are any problems? Wang Qianfeng took the information with both hands. The first thing he saw was Wang Lan's name. Suddenly, he sneered. Wang Lan really can't stay idle. He just started school, and in the first week, he went to help the superintendent catch robbers. That's not the point, Liu Zhao said in a low voice. Looking at Liu Zhao's expression, Wang Qianfeng's face suddenly became serious. Then, he carefully read the description of the case. When he finally saw that the bank robber Liu Kuang died more than 24 hours ago, Wang Qianfeng's pupils suddenly shrank. In an instant, Wang Qianfeng raised his head and stared at Liu Zhao's eyes, as if he wanted to find the answer from Liu Zhao's eyes. It seems that you also guessed it. Liu Zhao sighed and asked, Xiangxi's Wang family? Wang Qianfeng asked tentatively. It should be. The Xiangxi's Wang family was famous for transforming their soul into a sword. Their sword energy spanned 300 miles, and their sword light was cold in 7 provinces. However, 30 years ago, they were suddenly exterminated. This matter was classified as confidential, but 30 years have passed, and its confidential sealing time is almost up. In fact, the truth of the Wang family's extermination has been investigated. Liu Zhao held his chin and said in a low voice, It has been investigated? Yes. The one who exterminated the Xiangxi's Wang family was Wang Mingling, known as the #1 genius in 1,000 years. The Wang family was extremely talented in soul cultivation. After thousands of years, the Wang family was divided into the Qinghe Wang family, the Langyue Wang family, and the Xiangxi Wang family. The Wangs of Xiangxi had the strangest and most varied use of souls, but their methods were not worth mentioning compared to this strange genius from 30 years ago. Wang Mingling was born with the ability to cast her soul out of her body. She could even enter another person's body and check their memories. As he grew stronger, his abilities became more and more sinister. Xiangxi's Wang family's attitude towards him had also quietly changed. From being a genius that everyone thought highly of, he was gradually ostracized, feared, and even viewed with hostility by his family. Not only was Wang Mingling satisfied with the clan's secret techniques, but he was also reaching out to the clan's forbidden techniques. The family's forbidden technique was a Takashi Hoshi technique that was forced to take the risk to practice during abnormal times. Any forbidden technique that was listed as a forbidden technique was either too dangerous to cultivate, or the technique was too dangerous or deviated from the orthodox path. As for Wang Mingling, Not only did she not listen to the advice of her elders, she was also deeply immersed in the forbidden technique, unable to extricate herself. Finally, 30 years ago, the Wangs of Xiangxi decided to wipe out the family and get rid of Wang Mingling. However, the Wangs of Xiangxi did not know that the third elder of the clan, Wang Mingling's biological grandfather, had long been controlled by Wang Mingling. Wang Mingling had long known about the clan's secret plan. Before the clan planned to take action, Wang Mingling acted first. He joined forces with the Yunnan cult and poisoned all the experts of the Wangs. Then, he joined forces with the cult and slaughtered 372 people of the Wangs. At first, the culprit was only the Yunnan cult. However, after a year of investigation, the Jade State finally found out the truth. However, Wang Mingling had already fled overseas by then. Over the past 30 years, Wang Mingling has been active in the war-torn countries in the Middle East and formed his own mercenary group, Hellfire. From the information we received, Wang Mingling has the ability to control corpses. He often controls corpses to carry out suicide attacks. However, we don't know how he controls corpses. If it's Wang Mingling, why would he control the 6 maniacs to rob the bank? Is he short of money? What's his intention? Wang Qianfeng could not figure it out and asked. I can think of 2 things. First, Wang Mingling entered the Jade State through illegal channels. He can't bring money into the Jade State, so he needs money to live. Second, he announced his existence. He's declaring war on us. Declaring war. Wang Qianfeng's face suddenly turned ugly. Does he really think that there's no one in Sioux City? If he wants to fight, then let's fight. Since he came to Sioux City, he can forget about leaving alive. A phone. I'll leave Wang Mingling's whereabouts to you. If necessary, you can use all the resources available to the Heavenly Sword Bureau. However, once his whereabouts are confirmed, you're not allowed to act rashly. Lu Zhao slowly stood up and looked at Wang Qianfeng with a serious expression. Leave him to me. Understood. Wang Qianfeng nodded solemnly. For Lu Zhao to decide to take action personally, Wang Mingling's strength was definitely not to be underestimated. When he defected 30 years ago, he was already at the peak of the Galaxy Realm. After 30 years, he was probably already at the peak of the Star Sea Realm. While the Heavenly Sword Bureau was facing a formidable enemy, Wang Lan changed his clothes and went out just as the sky turned dark. Today, CSCC was treating him to a meal. In the morning, CSCC sent the location to Wang Lan. It was a seafood hot pot restaurant in Guqing District. This hot pot restaurant was famous for its excellent service in the food and beverage industry, which was considered to be a new path in the food and beverage industry. While almost all the food and beverage industries were known for their specialties and delicacies, this hot pot restaurant opened up a living space with its service. The customer was God. The waiters were treated with the same standards as flight attendants, so that the customers who came to eat could truly feel the treatment of a VIP. At first, other people in the same industry were dismissive of this, thinking that this kind of service was unorthodox. When diners came to eat, what they wanted was taste. However, reality proved that diners not only needed to be satisfied with the food, but also with their spiritual needs. Your watermelon is really delicious. The restaurant gave a watermelon to the customer to take home. Your hot pot base is not bad. The restaurant packed the hot pot base for the customer to take home. Today is my birthday. The restaurant gave me a birthday cake and a birthday present. Because of its good reputation, the undersea hot pot restaurant needed to be booked a day in advance to be seated on time. When Wang Lan arrived, CSCC and Jiang Xinyu were already there. CSCC was wearing a long woolen coat and had exquisite makeup on. When she stood up, her 1.8-meter tall model figure became the focus of most people in the restaurant. Along the way, Wang Lan even saw many people secretly taking pictures of CSCC with their phones. Of course, some people also wanted to come over and chat with her. However, Jiang Xinyu, who was sitting at the side, emitted a cold aura from time to time. Many people had this idea, but no one acted on it. Is it just the two of you? Xiang Wen and Fei Yu aren't here yet? Wang Lan sat down across from the two girls. There's a traffic jam. Jiang Xinyu looked away from her phone and looked up indifferently. Then, she looked at Wang Lan with disdain. Old-fashioned. Old-fashioned? Wang Lan lowered his head. It's a very standard outfit, okay? 50 yuan jeans, 80 yuan t-shirt, 120 yuan jacket. It's Cece's first time treating someone to a meal. Can't you be more serious? No. Wang Lan's outfit is very intimate. Wang Lan, let me tell you something interesting. Just now, a handsome guy came over with a car key in his hand. He wanted to get to know Xinyu. Before he got close, Xinyu casually put the car key on the table. That person turned left and went to the toilet. I'm dying of laughter. What's so funny? I could tell what some people want with just a glance. Just a 2 million yuan car key, and he pretends to be a rich second-generation heir. He looks decent, but his mind is full of dirty thoughts. Cece, you'll meet a lot of people like him in the future. I'm giving you a demonstration. Doesn't a 2 million yuan car count as a rich second-generation heir? Wang Lan asked curiously. According to the ratio of 8%, his assets are at most 30 million yuan. It's not even enough for my allowance for a year. Plus, people like him who use cars to pick up girls don't follow this ratio. It's possible that one car is half of his assets. The more cocky he is, the poorer he is. At most, he'll have 7 to 8 million yuan. That's nothing. Xinyu might have some misconceptions about being poor. You're blocking my way. A hurried voice sounded. Then, a coquettish Su Xiangwen walked over. Where's Fei Yu? He's still on the way with his girlfriend, but he should be here soon. At most 10 minutes. Have you guys ordered? Not yet. Wait, Gong Fei Yu brought his girlfriend? Yeah, that golden flower from the second year seems to be related to Fei Yu's grandmother. She's known Fei Yu since they were young and could be considered childhood friends. I get angry whenever I talk about this. Why do you guys have childhood friends, but I don't? I want one too. We all have one. Don't spread rumors. You're still denying it? Fei Yu and Hu Ling, you and Xinyu, what about me? I'm just like the three of you, but I treat you guys like brothers. Jiang Xinyu was very satisfied with Su Xiangwen's words and made a rare joke. Maybe Uncle and Annie's relationship is too enviable and God is jealous, so you don't have such good treatment. Okay, let's order. Give me the menu. I want to eat with anger. Take it easy. Don't make Cece go bankrupt. It's fine. Order as much as you want. One meal won't make me go bankrupt, Cece said with a smile. Su Xiangwen was a veteran at ordering dishes, and he knew their taste like the back of his hand. He ordered from the beginning to the end, accurately taking care of everyone's taste needs, and at the same time, accurately controlling the price. He ordered quickly. Seeing how fast he worked, the waiter smiled, thinking that he had met a rich person. But in reality, the final cost was definitely less than 1,000 yuan. The waiter took the menu and left. Coincidentally, Gong Fei Yu arrived with his girlfriend. Hu Ling was one of the 4 golden flowers of Takashi Hoshi. He had heard her name more than once, but he had never met her in person. As expected of one of the 4 golden flowers, Hu Ling's beauty was not inferior to Jiang Xinyu's. She was not tall and petite. She looked like a little bird. Wang Lan had only heard of Hu Ling's good name, but he had never heard of her strength or talent. Perhaps her talent was mediocre. There was a huge height difference between her and Gong Fei Yu. Even if Hu Ling had the heart of a great rock spreading its wings, she probably did not have the ability to do so. Sister Xinyu, Brother Xiangwen, this must be the prodigy, Brother Wang Lan, right? Hu Ling greeted the 3 of them warmly as soon as she saw them. Finally, Hu Qin looked at Cece. Your sister Cece, right? Sorry to disturb you uninvited. It's okay. Waiter, give us another set of cutlery, Cece quickly replied. Thank you, Sister Cece. Happy birthday to you. As she spoke, she took out a gift box from her bag and placed it in front of Cece with both hands. Oh, Cece was stunned. How did you know? Then, she looked at Wang Lan and the others in confusion. You all know. Cece, look at what you're asking. Do you think you can hide it from us? Su Xiangwen took out a gift box from his bag. Happy birthday to you. Cece, happy birthday. Cece, happy birthday. Instantly, CSCC's eyes became watery. Chapter 171. CSCC celebrated her birthday by herself every year. Her parents worked in the manufacturing industry, and their salary depended on overtime. For the sake of their expenses, they would never give up any chance to work overtime. Her brother was a chef, and he never had any time off. Although she received birthday wishes and presents every year, CSCC didn't seem to have any unforgettable memories. Ever since CSCC met Wang Lan, her life began to change. Before the new year, her father was promoted to management. During the winter break, she successfully broke through to star blazing by entering the training field. She even reached the mid-stage of star blazing. During the new year, CSCC followed her parents to her fourth uncle's house in Sioux City. She could hold her head up high for once. It had been a year since her cousin broke through to star blazing, but he was still in the early stage of star blazing. Back then, she was only in the heavenly body tier. Now, not only was her realm higher, but her strength was also overwhelming. When she was at her uncle's house, he personally tested CSCC's strength. The results shocked everyone. Without using Takeshi Hoshi, CSCC was actually able to fight Nebula's uncle to a draw. It wasn't a draw where he went easy on her, but a real draw. Recalling her aunt's ugly expression, CSCC was happy. In the past, her aunt always thought that CSCC would take advantage of her uncle in the future. But now, it wasn't certain who would rely on whose help. For the first time, her uncle generously gave CSCC a big bag, but her aunt didn't say anything. CSCC knew very well that her uncle loved her. It was just that he couldn't show it because of her aunt. Because of the help that Wang Lan and the others gave CSCC, CSCC remembered it in her heart. This made CSCC decide to treat them to a meal. But if she didn't have a reason, they definitely wouldn't agree. Even if they agreed, they would rush to pay when the time came. She just didn't expect that she wouldn't be able to hide her birthday from them. Cece, don't be so touched. Aren't you going to open it and take a look? Can I? Of course. CSCC first opened Su Xiangwen's gift box. Inside was a pair of metal gloves. It was different from the gloves Su Xiangwen wore before. This pair of gloves was more exquisite and cool. Su Xiangwen's boxing gloves only had one ring, but this one had 5-finger gloves, and only one finger of each finger was exposed. The gloves extended all the way to his elbows. They were silvery white and shiny like platinum. It was simple yet gorgeous, monotonous yet exquisite. This is very expensive, right? CSCC asked hesitantly. What's so precious about it? Cece, you should understand us. The word valuable should not exist in our dictionary. This is a pair of gloves made from star-patterned moose steel. You should know how useful it is to you. Star-patterned moose steel was a type of metal accidentally synthesized by the master metallurgist Moose 100 years ago. This type of metal had high strength and tensile strength. Most importantly, it was the fastest known material to conduct astral power. Anything made from this type of material, be it weapons or protective gear, was loved by Takeshi Hoshi. The only downside was that the material was too expensive. Xiangwen, this is too expensive. Are we still friends? If we are friends, then don't reject it. Since I dare to give it to you, I believe that our friendship is much more precious than this pair of gloves. Treat me as a friend and accept it. CSCC accepted the gloves, touched. She opened Gong Feiyu's gift. It was a pendant. Cece, I'm not good at choosing gifts. Lingling chose this. Thank you. I like it very much. CSCC smiled and accepted the pendant. Since Su Xiangwen had accepted such an expensive gift, he naturally wouldn't reject the pendant. Then, CSCC excitedly opened Wang Lan's gift. When she saw the soul orb lying quietly inside, her expression changed. This is the Takeshi Hoshi technique? Yes, this is the water substitute Takeshi Hoshi technique. I thought it suited you, so I bought it for you. Thank you. CSCC's face flushed red. She didn't ask how much it cost. Takeshi Hoshi techniques weren't cheap anyway. A soul orb cost at least 80,000 yuan. How cheap could it be? What a coincidence. Wang Lan gave you a water evasion Takashi Hoshi technique. I'll give you a water defense Takashi Hoshi technique. Don't reject it. I didn't buy this Takashi Hoshi technique. I asked the Takashi Hoshi imprint master to imprint it in my mind. B-grade Takashi Hoshi technique, water barrier. Imprint in your mind. Will it affect you? CSCC asked nervously. What are you thinking? Takashi Hoshi techniques have many mysterious things that can only be understood and not explained. That's why most Takashi Hoshi techniques are passed down through spiritual imprints. Imprinting in someone's mind is the same as imprinting it in a soul orb. The gifts from Wang Lan and the others caught CSCC off guard. She didn't think that they would find out about her birthday today. She also didn't think that each of their gifts would be so valuable. Just the two Takashi Hoshi techniques were priceless. In addition to Su Xiangwen's Starline Moose gloves, these things probably added up to a few million yuan. If it were just expensive, CSCC would still insist on rejecting them. However, these things weren't just expensive. They had a deeper meaning. If she rejected them, Wang Lan and the others would really be angry. In the end, not only did she not have to spend money, but she also made a killing. The dishes were quickly served. It was time for the 6 Takashi Hoshi to show off their true appetite. The table of ingredients was cleaned in less than 20 minutes. Who would control the price when they were eating so happily? They ate to their heart's content and ordered boldly. 2 hours later, in addition to the mountain-like plates on the table, there were also 2 waiters who were panting from exhaustion. In the end, the bill was over 4,000 yuan. Cici, get in the car. I'll send you home, Jiang Xinyu said as she hugged Cici. No need. I'll take the car back. It's still early. Cici, let Xinyu send you back. Xinyu, if foreigners try to stop you, don't stop. If someone tries to stop you, just ram into them. I'll take responsibility if anything happens. Hearing this, CSCC was stunned. Jiang Xinyu nodded silently. Is it table 76? Yes. Table 76 was 3 seats away from Jiang Xinyu's table, and there were 4 foreigners. Ever since they gave CSCC the gifts, the 4 foreigners had looked at CSCC more than once. Although it was said that one should not show off their wealth, there was no need to be too cautious in Jade State, especially those Takashi Hoshi techniques and the Starline Moose steel gloves. In the eyes of ordinary people, they didn't know the value of these. Even if there were Takashi Hoshi around, the chances of encountering them were pitifully small. However, these foreigners seemed to have the nature of bandits in their bones. When CSCC opened the first box, their greedy gazes were unabashedly directed at her. With Wang Lan's vigilance, how could he not notice? The 4 cars started and drove away. In fact, there weren't many people who dared to rob people in Sioux City. Even if those blonde foreigners were greedy, they didn't dare to make a move. Half an hour later, Wang Lan received a call from CSCC that she had arrived home safely. Soon, Su Xiangwen and the others called to say that they had arrived safely. When Wang Lan arrived home, it was about 9 o'clock in the evening. School would start again tomorrow. He took a shower and went to bed early. Just as he was about to fall asleep, he was suddenly woken up by the phone beside him. Who was it? Wang Lan picked up the phone in annoyance. He glanced at it, and his sleepiness instantly disappeared. Heavenly Sword Bureau's distress alert. Every official member of the Heavenly Sword Bureau was equipped with a special mobile phone, and the phone had a one-press distress function. In an emergency, all the Heavenly Sword Bureau in the area would receive the distress call and quickly rush to the target location. This distress call was not far from where Wang Lan was. It was also in the East Gate Business District, located in a villa area about 5 kilometers southeast of Eastgate. Without hesitation, Wang Lan instantly got up and went downstairs while putting on his clothes. 2 minutes later, the electric scooter, which had unlocked the speed limit, rushed out of the underground parking lot. In this mode, the electric scooter could reach a maximum speed of 120 kilometers per hour. It was definitely faster than any car in the city, especially now that it was 11 or 12 o'clock there were still a lot of cars on the road. In less than 10 minutes, Wang Lan arrived at the target's neighborhood. The target's neighborhood was already alarmed. Many residents in the neighborhood were shocked by the continuous explosions and rushed out of their homes. However, the location of the explosions was relatively far away, and they didn't have the courage to go and take a look. Wang Lan leaped up the moment she entered the residential area. Stepping on the street lamps, she sprinted toward the target location. From afar, he saw 3 figures fighting in the courtyard outside the villa. Without needing to distinguish, Wang Lan knew who to help. 2 blonde foreigners surrounded a man with Jade State's face. Wang Lan jumped high and instantly connected the crescent moon arrow and the flaming blade. A purple flaming arrow shot out within a second. "Pust run!" An exclamation came from a foreigner's mouth, and his figure flew backward in an instant. The other foreigner stabbed his sword into the chest of the Heavenly Sword Bureau's comrade opposite him. Just as he had time to retreat, the purple flaming arrow hit his face. It was too late to dodge. The blonde foreigner gritted his teeth and crossed his hands in front of his chest. In an instant, his whole body flashed with a golden light and was soon wrapped in a layer of silver-white metal. The blonde foreigner turned into a statue and planned to take Wang Lan's arrow head-on. The metal attribute was the attribute with the highest defense among the 7 attributes. According to the thunder attribute, there was no absolute defense that it couldn't pierce. The metal attribute claimed that there was no attack that it couldn't block. Boom! The arrow was shot from 100 meters away. Normally, the farther the distance, the weaker the attack power. Moreover, Wang Lan's hasty attack showed that he wasn't prepared. It shouldn't be difficult to block the arrow. As soon as the blonde foreigner thought of this, his face changed in the next moment. Wang Lan's arrow ruthlessly pierced into the silver statue. Half of the arrow pierced into the statue's chest. Do you think this is the end? Before the blonde foreigner could recover from the heavy injury, the power of the purple flaming arrow exploded in an instant. In an instant, the blonde foreigner only had time to feel fear. Boom! It was torn apart. The Heavenly Sword Bureau's comrade opposite him widened his eyes in disbelief. Then he clutched his chest and slowly fell down. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.